You've reset your clocks. You've bought your mum a present and a card. Now it's time for the Premiership final. Good afternoon and welcome to Loughborough University for this BUCS Premiership game between the Hertfordshire Hurricanes and the Leeds Beckett Carnegie. Now, it's not just any regular game, it is the national title game. Delighted to say that I'm joined by two guests this afternoon. First of all, James Wilford. Good afternoon, James.
Afternoon, how you doing, all right?
Very well, thank you. And also Joe Walker, sporting the shades and a rather interesting jacket. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me again.
You're more than welcome. Before we kick off with this game this afternoon, we witnessed the Div 1 game earlier on, 26-0 in favour of the Coventry Jets. And I think it was pretty much a deserved victory, James, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Joe, anything that Leeds, anything that the UEA Pirates could have done any differently in that one, or was it always likely to be Coventry?
It was always going to be tough, and Coventry are a very, very talented programme. So I think they showed out well, and they showed themselves to be deserving of going up into the Premiership, but Coventry's just too good today.
Indeed. So we'll turn our attention to this game, and this is the pinnacle, the final game of the British Universities American football season. We have maybe some would argue some surprising finalists in Leeds, Beckett and Hertfordshire, particularly when you look at their regular season records. We'll come on to that in a little while. Just that somewhat initially, before we look in depth, what are you expecting from this game this afternoon, James, overall?
I think two different styles, contrasting styles. Leeds are very ground and pound, flex bone, very run heavy. Hearts, on the other hand, kind of the opposite, spread 2x2, lots of pass game, quick game, deep shots as well. So yeah, contrasting styles. I think the defensive battle will be really, really interesting.
There are a lot of football purists around looking ahead and looking around the stadium, but from an entertainment point of view, do you think this could be one that really lights the blue touch paper and takes off?
Yeah, absolutely. And if Hertfordshire have a day where they pass the ball well and Kit Varney plays well at quarterback and gives that ball to all of those talented receivers at Hearts, then we're going to see a really high-scoring game in the offing. The difficulty is whether or not we can see both offences moving the ball in that same way. One is more of a methodical, control the clock type of offence. The other one is big shots through the air, traditional sort of what we're expecting to see from NFL teams.
Okay. So we'll have a look now at each individual team in a bit of detail and run through their season. We'll start with the home team, and the home team this afternoon is the Leeds Beckett Carnegie. Leeds had a 5-3 regular season record. They were second in the Premiership North. 3 of their games decided by 2 points or less. 4 times they held opponents under 10 points, and not that James will want to hear this, but they managed to shut out the Birmingham Lions in the semi-final. So maybe it's time to start with James. James, if you think back to that semi-final, what were the problems that Leeds created for you in order for them to be successful and book their place in the final today?
I think there's a few things. Firstly, the style of the offence and the quality of it as well. Very, very talented up front. They move the ball really, really well. Take a lot of possession, take a lot of time off the clock. But then also defensively, I think probably their offense gets a lot of kind of credit, but their defense, they did shut us out. They've been very solid all season. They're big up front. They're aggressive in the secondary. So they were really they played well against us, and yeah, unfortunately they beat us, but they look good today, and I think they're ready for it. So yeah.
And Joe, an offence that you know really well, is running a similar one in Loughborough at the moment. So talk us through what we could expect to see from this offence this afternoon.
Yeah, so it's a triple option offence. It's going to be lots of misdirection. You're going to see 3 backs in the backfield, 2 backs in the backfield. They're going to run a lot of power. They're going to pull guards. They're going to do things that are going to be moving that ball around. And you've got to really watch the ball a little bit tonight, because it's going to get moved around everywhere, and sometimes you're going to see the ball going one way, the other way. Do not just get fixated on what's going downhill. Expect to see a lot of movement going on in the backfield, for sure.
So if we look at the results from this year, they started out the season playing Stirling, the Klansmen, and put a 50 burger up on them first time out, 50-28. And very much, I think, this season, a bit of a change in the guard in the Prem in the North. The strength of Stirling from the past, and Derby, who was successful last year, really struggled this year. So that's, as I say, 50-28 against the Klansmen initially. They then came up against the University of Nottingham and lost by a single point. And then once again put 49 points on the Braves. So a great start to the year.
Yeah, they did. They have a really, really good start, and that was down to the fact that they've got an American quarterback who's run this system in the States. Now, that quarterback got injured. He had an MCL tear in the second game against Nottingham. Really made them struggle. They had to have had 5 or 6 different guys playing quarterback since then. But he's back today, and we might see him under centre. So it could be that we're seeing something really explosive offensively from Carnegie.
So it took until February the 14th, indeed, until they experienced their first loss, and that was a 10-9 decision against Durham. And obviously the might of Durham, to put up anything close in the past would have been a real plus. What particularly, why have they been as successful as they have in the Prem this year, do you think, James?
Talented players, talented coaching. Dale's done a fantastic job with the staff. They're a great program, really well organised. That Durham game, when you talk about that loss, they'd played 2 games within the space of a week. I spoke to Coach Rooney yesterday and talked about how they kind of adjusted for that second game, and 10-9's a close one. I think playing twice in a week is hard. When you're playing that midweek game, and it is hard to perform at that level. And the one thing I'd say with Leeds is the squad size isn't perhaps what it is of all the other Prem teams. So, they've got less guys to kind of rotate in and rest and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that might have been one of the factors why they lost that game.
Closed out the season against many people's favourites for the championship this season, I think, the University of Nottingham. And actually, Nottingham did put them to the sword a little bit with a 40-12 victory for the University of Nottingham students. But then into the post-season, took on the UWE Bullets. And then, as we mentioned already, the Birmingham. But indeed, it was a bit of a shootout against the Bullets, 45-34 for Leeds.
Yeah, both teams stacked with Americans, both teams with talent on both sides of the football, and a game that I picked UE to win, unfortunately, and they have proven themselves to be well deserving of being here today, and if they don't win a national championship today, I'll be surprised.
So that's Leeds, and fortunately enough, before the game, we were able to catch up with their head coach, and I believe we can bring you that interview right now. We're joined by Leeds Beckett coach Dale Bottomley. Afternoon, coach. Thanks for joining us.
How are you doing?
Obviously, been a tough road to the season, to this final point, like any is. Can you sum up this season so far for us?
I just think it's been a learning opportunity every game. We've not won every game, but that's been a great opportunity for us to develop as a team and not take how we play for granted. So, we've had two losses by a point, but those have been great opportunities for us to develop, get better, improve, and then work towards the next goal.
As far as you're concerned, what have been the keys to success for Leeds in their march to the final today?
I think it's what we call the brotherhood. It's the togetherness. We've got a great mix of players. We've got players from all sorts of different countries, from junior football too, and it's just an unbelievable mix of talent and of energy. And I think that's the key more than anything to do with scheme.
An exciting time for everybody in a final at the end of the season. Obviously, nobody wants to go home in that second position. How are you going to maintain those levels of excitement so they don't spill over and interfere with what you're trying to achieve today?
Yeah, we've had a couple of weeks off now, so we've had the opportunity to really talk about this in the classroom and try and treat it, like I said before, as much as a normal game as possible. Not get too fired up, but then not be too relaxed. So it's a balancing act, and I think we've worked at that well over the past 2 weeks.
You'll have obviously scouted Hertfordshire as much as you can leading into this game. Are there any specific areas that you've been targeting as an area that you've seen to exploit on those guys, or anything that you think will work from a Leeds point of view to get that W today?
Yeah, I think the key for them to have success is to gain a lot of yards with the pass. They've got a very good passing game, and the quarterback gets the ball out very quickly, so that's been a point of focus for us. And in terms of their defence, they'll be facing something different than they haven't seen all year, so that's always a good point for us. So we're looking to run the ball very strong and attacking with the pass.
Your players then, obviously there's going to be a lot of the nation looking at you guys. Is there anybody particularly we should be looking out for to make an impact, or very much is it sort of a team orientated approach?
Yeah, it absolutely is a team. We've had 13 different players carry the ball, and I think it's 11 different players scored a touchdown. So we are spreading the ball around, and we have got some talent, from the States, but there's only two or three guys, and I want to give a shout out to all the junior players. We've got 8 junior players, 6 are from our academy, and we've got I think 3 or maybe 4 starting today. So that is a superb to see that pathway all the way through.
And finally, kind of unusual in terms of Hertfordshire with the season they had, and yet they've come on strong in the postseason and maybe peaking at the right time. What do you expect in an overall matchup from today? What sort of game do you expect this to be?
I think we're very similar in terms of how we approach games. I think we both perform at the right time. The regular season is great, but you've got to perform when it counts, and both teams have done that. It doesn't matter by how many points they've won games when it counts. So we know that they can come back fast in the fourth quarter and put a lot of points on the board quickly. So we'll be making sure that we play right till the very end.
Well, I think it's going to be a heck of a game this afternoon, and just thank you for your time and wish you all the best for the final, Coach.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So interesting words there from Coach Bottomley for Leeds. Now we've had a little look at Leeds, we'll turn our attention to their opponents today, the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. And again, some would say a major surprise for the Hertfordshire Hurricanes to be in this position. They finished their regular season with a 3-4 record, 4th in the Premiership South. They lost the first 2 games of the season and scored only 4 more points all season than they actually conceded, putting up 148 points and conceding 144. Once again, Birmingham were a victim along the way. Apologies, James. But nevertheless, they also came up with a bit of a shock defeat of the University of Nottingham in the first round of the playoffs, where they beat Nottingham 28-27 in a real nail-biter towards the end. And then their 2 playoff games, they won by a combined total of only 6 points. So let's think a little bit more about Hertfordshire then. 3-4, 4th in the division. You kind of in our league, the runaway leader generally in the regular season generally book their place deep into the postseason. How have Hertfordshire been able to, Joe, turn this around from that 3-4 record?
It's just about surviving the season. And if you can get into the playoffs in the Premiership, then you've got an opportunity to get into the game, and that's what they've done. It doesn't matter if you're the best team in the South. All that mattered was do not be the team who get relegated. Get yourself into the playoffs, give yourself an opportunity, be healthy, and get yourself a chance to win. Now, they went up to Nottingham, and nobody expected them to win that game. Everybody thought that was just going to be a walkover victory, but they came out, they took opportunities, they recovered kickoffs that Nottingham left on the floor. They played good football, they threw the football well at the effectively against the Nottingham team who struggled against the pass and did really, really well.
From a coaching point of view, James, if you start the season 0-2, in obviously a very short season of 7-8 games, how do you bounce back from that? From a coaching perspective, how do you motivate players to not think already after 2 games that's a lost season?
I think, like Joe said, it's a long season, and all you need to do really in the Premiership is to make sure that you don't get relegated and you're in with a chance. It doesn't matter, like you said, like they're the 4th seed and they went up to Notts, and as long as you're in the tournament, you've got a chance, and they showed that. They won the potentially the most difficult tie against what everyone was tipping to be the champions this year, Nottingham. Defensively, we got our takeaways and we held them to 3 scores in the end, but it was the offense that made the big difference. We took 42 was it? 45 points on the board. 43 points on the board. And yeah, I think we scored pretty much every time we had the ball, which obviously it takes the pressure off the defense when you're playing with a lead. It kind of forced them into some, I would say, impatience. They took their shots deep when first half and first quarter they were taking the small gains that we kind of gave them as a defense, and I think it's got a little bit impatient, having to play from behind, and that kind of changed the game for them.
Then into the playoffs, 2 games in the Premiership as opposed to the 3 that the Div 1 teams played. They came up first of all against the Swansea Titans and managed to dispatch them by a score of 27-22. And then we've already alluded to the University of Nottingham game where they ran out by single-point winners. Again, we spoke to their head coach prior to the game and talking about how you keep a bunch of players motivated after such a poor regular season to peak at the right time, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is they went into the Swansea game confident, and they thought we can win that game, that we can take on a Swansea team and we can have a success against that Swansea team. And I spoke to their defensive coordinator before that game, and he said we can do this and we can play against them. That's not a problem at all. You know, the Nottingham game, they went up and they just said we're just going to enjoy ourselves and have fun because we don't expect to win it, and they came away as winners. And you know, I think it's a testament to Simon Hatcher. It's a testament to his coaching staff that they have worked really, really hard to make sure that staff is doing everything they need to do to be successful.
So let's put you guys on the hot spot a little bit. Basically, due to the fact that you run a similar offence to Leeds, and basically due to the fact that you've obviously played Hertfordshire twice this season, you're the Hertfordshire coach, you're the Leeds coach. What have you got to do to be successful today? We'll start with Joe. Give you a bit of time to think, James.
It's ball control. It's keep high-powered, explosive Hertfordshire offence off the field. I don't want to see them on the field. We want to see 8-minute drives whenever we've got our hands on the ball. We want to win that game by 21-0 and make sure that we score every single time we go down the field. We want to make sure that we are keeping Kit Varney on the sideline and getting frustrated and getting cold and just churning out yards, you know, picking up 3 yards of carry, 3 yards of carry. You know, we'll happily go for it on 4th down and make our plays.
And James, from a Hurricane point of view, what have you got to be doing to beat Leeds this afternoon?
I think it's almost the opposite. If I'm Hearts, I want the ball straight away. I think they would need to get a lead and score early and score fast. I think, you know, Leeds' offense is fantastic, but they're not designed to play from behind. So get ahead on them early and maybe force them into some stuff that they're not used to doing. Maybe get them into some, you know, pass game rather than, you know, just the run game all the time. Defensively, you just got to find a way to stop that offence. I think you hold them to 3 scores, you got a chance to win the game. And you know, I don't know what they're going to do, whether they're going to go to, you know, bare front or whether they're going to stick with the 4-man front that they ran most of the season. But you know, that's what they've got to do, stop the run.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for now, gents. We're going to go to a quick ad break, and then after which you'll be able to rejoin us for an exclusive interview with Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans quarterback, who was over in Leicester last week. We're putting on a quarterbacks clinic. So don't go anywhere. Join us after this break. Welcome back to Loughborough. We've just seen two teams run out for their preparations, their final preparation for this afternoon. Mentioned about Deshaun Watson. We'll bring you his interview shortly. But before we do that, we caught up with Simon Hatcher, head coach of the Hurricanes, to get his view about the preparations for this afternoon's game. So I'm joined by Hurricanes head coach Simon Hatcher. Thanks for joining us, Simon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, not too bad, thank you. The sun's out and it's a little bit chilly, but we're looking forward to a good afternoon of football. So, sum up so far the season for the Hurricanes to this point.
Well, we've had an up and down season. There's been some challenges, but the players have done a great job of overcoming those challenges and becoming more of a team. Sometimes that difficulty sort of, you rise above it, and adversity grows us, doesn't it?
It does indeed. You mentioned about the adverse regular season, 3-4 record, and yet in the playoffs you seem to have really bounced back and had some fantastic results over some what some would argue some much stronger opposition. What do you atone to the reason for that turnaround in the postseason?
I think we just pulled together. It's a little bit like comparing it to football, where you get someone sent off and all 10 men bond together. Definitely Nottingham. We had a few people just drop out, arguably because we were going to get hammered, and it's just the core of the team stuck together and said, let's go for it, and they went for it.
So today is the final, big game for anybody involved in football, not only in the Premiership. What have you done, anything particularly different to prepare your team for this game today, or is it just business as usual?
I've actually tried to not do anything different, so we've kept the same practice schedule and just kept the thing exactly the same, because I don't want it to be anything different than a sort of game, really.
And in your mindset, going up against Leeds, what do you have to do well in order to come out with that win this afternoon?
Well, we've definitely got to stop the run. They're an incredibly strong running team. Force them into... I mean, they're still comfortable passing, but I don't think they're as comfortable, so try and force them into a passing situation, and then that's what we're used to, so we'll see how it goes.
And finally then, what do you expect today's game to be like? Is it going to be a high-scoring affair? Is it going to be cagey with it being a final? How do you foresee this going before we even kick off?
I think because of it's 12-minute quarters and they run the clock, I think it's going to be hard to be high-scoring, and I think middle sort of 20-point area, I reckon. But I'm just guessing.
Well, thank you ever so much for your time. I know you're a busy man on the lead up to the game. We wish you all the best, and once again, great to hear from Coach Hatcher there on his predictions and his preparation for this afternoon. Right, nearly game time. The teams are coming out for the coin toss. Very quickly, gentlemen. Predictions for this afternoon. Ready? Go, Joe. You're James. Let's try James then.
Leeds 40, Hearts 26.
Wow, 40-26 Leeds.
I think we'll get 21 points from Carnegie, and we'll unfortunately only get about 14 from Hearts. So, yeah, Leeds win.
So Leeds on both from these guys here. We're going to bring you that Deshaun interview at half-time, just because obviously we're so close to kick-off. But what we'll do now is we will join our commentary team, who are currently situated high up on the roof behind us. We've got Lincoln Colonials coach George Lee, but first of all, Nottingham Trent University defensive coordinator Carl Walkinshaw. Can you hear me, boys?
We can hear you, Matt. How are you doing down there?
Very
Nice,
well, thank you.
Nice opening sessions.
Still as blustery up there as it was for the Div 1 game?
Actually, do you know what? George has left his sunglasses in the car, so he's squinting away.
And what are you guys thinking then? Obviously, looking down from your vantage point, what's your opinion? You've heard that both our guys on the sideline here are deeming a Leeds victory is on the cards. Do you agree?
But do you know what, Matt? We're just hoping for a great game of American football.
Yeah, we are. We don't make predictions up here. We just come out and call what's on.
Well, you sometimes don't even call what's on, George.
No, we can see. Just going through the coin toss.
Right, guys, we'll have a great game. We'll hand over to you, and best of luck. Enjoy it, fellas.
Matt, Joe, James, thank you very much, and welcome along to the commentary booth. I'm joined by George Lees. As always, George, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Carl. How are you?
Good. I'm really looking forward to this one. We had a good spectacle, certainly from the Coventry Jets earlier today. They went on to win the Div 1 final, but we're really looking for a game that's going to be competitive, we hope, today between the Leeds Beckett Carnegie and the Hertfordshire Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's just nice to see a team from the southern division of the Premiership finally make the final after, well, certainly 2 years out, if not 3 years out. So.
Yeah, and Div 1 North Division certainly dominating over the last couple of years or so. So it's good to see both these teams here. Hertfordshire play a very different style of offence to Leeds Beckett, and if you watched the game earlier with the Coventry Jets, Leeds actually play a very similar style to Leeds Beckett, don't they, George?
Yeah, but theirs is more designed around the smaller squad size, I think is fair to say. I think that's a large part of the reason why they run it. They've got some very talented players, but you can't keep running players downfield quite the same way as you would in a spread offence when you've got limited numbers compared to the rest of your opponents. And I think that's quite a large reason that they go for what they do, but it's been effective for them. It's worked for a number of years, and no doubt it will work for them again here.
Number of important players to watch. Cameron Fry, we're looking forward to seeing him. Leeds Beckett, Carnegie, we think that he's going to be starting today. American quarterback, plays for University of Illinois, very talented guy, and we're looking forward to seeing him in action. In terms of Hertfordshire's quarterback, Kit Varney, one of the Varney brothers.
One of the Varney brothers. He's been around for some time.
Tristan Varney's little brother, and I understand the other Varney brothers are playing in Hertfordshire as well on the O-line. So they're keeping it in the family, and he'll be looking to have a good performance today. We actually saw him playing for Samwell, didn't we, when we played Leicester Falcons last season in the adult league?
He did, yeah. Talented young man. We'll see what he can pull out the bag. Hertfordshire have had some great receivers this year. I think the passing game has been strong for them, so hopefully they can work on that.
Yeah, Hassan and Yervier, number 18 and number 21 for Hertfordshire, they're really the ones to watch there. And as I think it was Joe Walker was saying earlier, you've got two different styles of offence. One that likes to go deep, so Hertfordshire, they'll sling it around, they'll spread you out, they'll try and stretch the field and go deep downfield to those talented receivers, whereas Carnegie will grind it out with this flex bone offence and really try and get you in a position where you just don't have enough time to play the game. So we're really looking at two very different styles, and it should be fascinating to see these encounters.
Yeah, the style of offence that Leeds play, it's either a really large score or not a very big score at all. So it'll be interesting to see what the likes of Simon Hatcher have done with the Hertfordshire defence to really negate that offensive formation and take away the threats that it has.
One thing, I don't know whether this is a factor. Okay, let me ask you this question, George. Hertfordshire come through the playoffs. They beat Swansea 27-22, close game. They then go on to beat UON. They were underdogs. They win that game 28-27. Whereas Carnegie, they've kind of blasted their way through the playoffs and haven't really been tested. Now, do you see that as a factor? Do you think the Hertfordshire's maybe a bit more battle-tested?
Yeah, I think it gives Hertfordshire that added experience of digging deep when it's really needed. Perhaps they've played from behind and they can fight their way back. We haven't really seen Leeds in this playoff go very far behind, if at all. So they're not perhaps in that situation. And of course, in their regular season game, their last 3 games, they lost 2 of. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, so we're excited here. Good stuff there from George in terms of how this game might play out. We can see the teams on the field getting ready to line up. So if you've just joined us, welcome along to the BUCS National Premiership Final between Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie and the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. We're looking forward to getting this one underway, and I'm sure you are as well. Let us know who you're supporting on the YouTube stream. Are you supporting the Canes today, or will you be supporting Leeds for this final victory? And Hertfordshire made a lot of appearances in the final, haven't they? I think they're Are they the team that's had the most final appearances in any other?
I mean, they are a successful program. There's no other way of putting it. They've been at the top of the game for a long, long time. It's nice to see them back in a final. It's been some time since they've been here, but throughout that time they've maintained and dug through the Premiership. And to be fair, it's been said that perhaps we weren't expecting to see these two teams here, but at the start of the season there was no doubt that the Hertfordshire Hurricanes and the Birmingham Lions and the Swansea Titans as well were no doubt the three to be really looking at the start of the Premiership season. Granted, the Lions and the Hertfordshire Hurricanes seasons went downhill. Swansea had a phenomenal season, but there's no doubt in that team's eyes down there that they weren't supposed to be here today.
All right, we're getting ready to kick off here. So it's Leeds in white and it's Hertfordshire in purple. Both of these teams feature the colour purple, but it's Leeds in white colours today against Hertfordshire in purple. So Leeds will be kicking off, Hertfordshire receiving, and they've got that man already back there to return this one, number 21, Yervier. Let's see if it goes to him. They try and kick it the other way to number 11, but it goes to Yervier, who picks it up at the 10, takes it to his left-hand side, and that's good coverage, trying to get the ball out, ripping, but the man goes down. So Yervier goes down at about the 26-yard line. So good kick coverage there from Leeds Beckett Carnegie.
Yeah, well taken in. Not a huge gain, but no errors on the play, and I think that's the first thing for this Hurricanes offense to do, is just, you know, maybe get a first down. Obviously you want to drive down the field, but a first down at a time, just take it steady, no silly errors early on in this final.
Steadying those nerves. This is a very celebrated program, Hertfordshire. They've been here before a number of times in the national final, but not necessarily with these student athletes. So let's see how Kit and the rest of them get on with this challenge. High snap to start. Play action. A deep to number 11, but that one's incomplete on the sideline. They're trying to get Tim Oyalaja into the game early on.
Yeah, it was well covered up by the Carnegie DBs. They were all over that, and then actually ended up with 2-3 players round the football.
So a familiar spread offense, pistol formation with the running back behind the quarterback. Kit Varney now getting ready to line up against this Leeds defense. High snap, deals with it well, under some pressure. Looks like it was the same play, and that one goes incomplete as well. So 2 shots downfield, 2 times incomplete.
Yeah, not a brilliant start, but that high snap there threw him out. It did have a man open underneath.
So maybe a little bit of nerves, but their early intent is to get Tim Oyalaja into the game early. Maybe trying to set something up there on the sideline. All right, now they have to get the 10 yards. Trips to the top of your screen, 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Single running back. Oh, Kit struggles with the snap, and that is going to be recovered by Kit Varney, but way back at the 14-yard line. So 2 times now, Kit Varney struggling with the snap.
Yeah.
Early nerves.
Yeah, and they need to make some adjustments to that very, very quickly. You don't want those errors today. They've needed some clean snaps to start off, but that's, to be fair, the snap was actually on point. It looked like Kit didn't take that particularly well, but they'll punt this away here and give their defense the opportunity to spark some life.
4th and 25. This is going to be a punt, George. That's my prediction.
It's going to be a punt. How long it goes, I'm not sure. Which way is the wind blowing?
Here we go then. Here is the punt. It's a low kick, drives it to the 50-yard line, and there it's going to come to a stop, but it's going to give Leeds excellent field position to start their first drive just outside Hertfordshire territory.
Yeah, low line punt. Short field for the Carnegie to try and get across.
So here comes the American Cameron Fry, University of Illinois Div 1 player. Exciting to have him back from injury. And here he is in the national final, playing here at Loughborough. Let's see what he can do. Excited to see him perform today on the field. And he's surrounded by talent as well. It's not just him. There are players around him. You can see this familiar flex bone that we saw that the Jets run. Motion into a kind of I formation and further motion. Now you've got 3 backs in the backfield. And a handoff to number 23. But that's going absolutely nowhere.
Well stuffed up by the Hurricanes defense there. Straight to the ball. They knew what was coming when that play was called.
So that was Tyler Broad on the run. But a loss of yardage on that. That'll bring up 2nd and 11. So first blood to Hertfordshire. 2nd and 11 then for Cam Fry. 3 backs in the backfield. Fry under centre. Kane's crowding that line of scrimmage, but Fry goes back to pass, lofts the ball up into the air, and that is incomplete, but the flag is down. Looked to me like it was played well, but looks like a PI.
Yeah, intended target was Brian Smith, but as you say, I suspect it's going to go for that pass interference call.
Pass interference. 25 defence, 15 yards, previous spot, automatic first down.
That's our head referee, Brian Yates.
So the call there was on Gerard Thompson-Shaw, the unfortunate defensive back. So it's just a straight fly route on that far side of your screen. Looking deep. As we very, it was a well-thrown ball. But
I think we're going to see a lot of that, trying to get that hitch up from Cam to Smith. Anyway, here we go on first down again. This one's out into the flat to number 23, who dodges a back and is into the end zone. So it's an early score for Leeds. Carnegie on a simple pass into the flat, and that is Tyler Broad in for the touchdown. Wow.
that makes a difference from this morning's game. Straight in.
Absolutely, they line up in that run formation, but again, deadly when you've got a quarterback that can pass like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can get a man free into the flat and then just uses his speed.
It was a beautiful step as well, just enough to get round his man.
So Tyler Broad in for 6, and Leeds take an early lead in this national final. If you just joined us, it's 6-0. We've got Leeds lining up for 2 points with a heavy set to the left-hand side. Quarterback keeps it and takes it in for the 2, and that's going to take them to 8-0. No flags on the play, so they use that big, heavy set and overload the left-hand side to take it in. Chris Winrow with the score, who's actually the guy that's been playing quarterback while Cam was recovering from his injury.
Yeah, and he's led them to where they need to be, that's for sure. So no doubt we'll see him a few times throughout today's game.
So we reset after that early score. Only 3 or so minutes taken off the clock for Leeds to get the ball and go into the end zone. Remember, it was the Hurricanes that actually received the ball from the kickoff, but it's Leeds who strike first. So ready for the kickoff. Hurricanes get a chance to mount a drive. Kickoff's going to be picked up by Carl Yervier again. Tries to get to his left-hand side, but again, it's good coverage from Leeds Beckett, and that'll bring them out. The Canes will start at their 22-yard line.
Yeah, absolutely nowhere to go. It was great special teams coverage, and oddly, it's something that's often lacking in British teams, is that that special teams factor, that kickoff coverage.
Yeah, it was a nice high kick, wasn't it, which allows the coverage team to get underneath and get some men to the ball. So first down from the 22-yard line. Running backs to his left and right, Kit Varney, as he hands this one off. And that's a nice tackle. It's a one-on-one tackle. And number 34 does well to bring his man.
Yeah, Spencer Hine, the tackling man.
Spencer Hine also plays a bit of running back. Out there playing defense today as well for Leeds, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 10 for Kit Varney. Receiver in motion to the top of your screen, and it's going to go to that receiver on a little swing pass, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds. So good coverage again there from number 23, Tyler Broad.
It looks like Axel Rodwell was the receiver on that play for no gain.
So Leeds looking strong on defense as well. You know, you got the run play, which was stuffed at the line of scrimmage, and now we have the flare pass out to that left-hand side, which is stopped as well. Leeds playing some nice tight football to start this game. This one is a handoff on the sweep that the running back cuts inside, and that's a nice cut. Opens up the hole, but the ball comes out. Looking for the signal now. It looks like the Canes have recovered it back, and they have.
It looks like they've been given the first down as well. It was a beautiful cut. Needs to keep that ball secure, but he finds a way to get over for that 10-yard pickup.
So Hertfordshire on the march. 1st and 2nd down, not effective, but on 3rd down they pick up 10 yards. Let's have a look at this replay. cuts into the hole, and there's the third down. Back to the live action now. Kit Varney on first down, handing off. And that one trying to get something going on the left-hand side. But that one shut down quickly, and that's Sam Green on the run.
Yeah, wrapped up very well by the defence. No gain, 2nd and 10.
So Kit Varney's nerves seem to have settled down after that early series.
See if they look to put the ball into the air at all.
2 receivers to the top, 2 receivers to the bottom. Kit in shotgun takes the snap. Goes out to Yervier on the left, on this right-hand side rather. He's cutting all the way back across the field, but Leeds disciplined on the cutback, and they stuffed that one in the backfield.
I think Hertfordshire, well, there's a flag on the play, but I think Hertfordshire were unfortunate not to get a late hit on the quarterback on that play.
There are 2 flags on the field, one to the top of your screen, one in the centre of your screen. We'll get that checked and hear from...
Yeah, that's a very late hit on the quarterback there. You see it on that replay. But Yervier just needs to trust his blockers and keep moving forward. Don't go side to side too much.
So we will wait for the call from Brian Yates, our referee today.
There's 3 fouls on the play. Personal foul, face mask. Number 21. Personal foul, face mask. Number 23. By rule, those penalties offset. The 3rd foul is dead ball. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 73. That will be enforced 15 yards from the dead ball spot. Automatic first down.
So that's Jack Sindel that finally gets called, and I think it was the late hit on the quarterback, as you said, George.
No, that was dead ball, so I'm not sure if there were a bit of afters or quite what happened there, but certainly did look to be a late hit on the quarterback, but missed by the officials. But nonetheless, it's still a 15-yard penalty. So
Hertfordshire driving after that penalty with 3 in motion, but they hand the ball up the centre and a huge hole up the middle. With 2 men to beat, and they managed to drag him down, and going straight up the gut is Sam Green for a gain of about 23 yards.
Incredibly quick little run there.
Good run in there, and here come Hertfordshire. 8-0 down, but unperturbed by the early score from Leeds. Driving the ball well against this good disciplined defence.
Actually,
trips to the top of your screen. Kit Varney goes deep to Yervier, and he's got it! In for 6! So the simple seam pass up the hash mark goes in for 6 points. And Hertfordshire Hurricanes are right back in this one and right back at you.
Oh, I'm not quite sure our guys on the ground were expecting that for the first quarter. 2 quick scores within the first 6 minutes of the game.
Hertfordshire showing that deep threat. They've been trying to go to Yervier a couple of times. That time they do get the connection. And Kit Varney right on the money.
Yeah, on point. And you can see why they go for Yervier. He's certainly got some speed.
Hertfordshire lining up for the point after. They're not going to go for 2. They're going to elect to go for the 1 point. Axie Rodwell kicks it up, and the kick is good. So, your score early on in this Premier final: Leeds Beckett Carnegie 8 and the Hertfordshire Hurricanes 7. Interesting that they didn't go for 2 and try and even up the score.
Well, just keep getting points on the board. You know, I think you'd rather get 1 point than not get any at all on a 2-point attempt. And the way their offense moved that time, they're expecting to score some more. So,
absolutely. So it was an impressive drive from Hertfordshire. Had a little bit of assistance with penalties on key downs, but nevertheless made yards when they needed to. Effective on 3rd down, kept the ball moving down the field and back in the game.
Yeah, 2 big plays there for them, really. But that nice little run by number 30, Biziu, and that great pass and catch.
This kickoff is going to go to number 12. Leeds Beckett goes to his right-hand side and is brought down at the 22-yard line. That's Brian Smith, and good coverage from both of these teams early on. Brian Smith, again, American wide receiver. Nominated for the Beckett Sports Personality of the Year award. If you want to vote for Brian, you can go online and vote.
Oh, well, I'm assuming you have to be a student at Beckett, but who knows?
Absolutely. 1st and 10 for Leeds Beckett after the Canes get back into this one, and Hertfordshire crowding that line of scrimmage. Flex boners, Cam under a huge amount of pressure, just has to heave that one. Gets thrown to the floor.
A lot of pressure coming off that edge there, and Cam Fry does well just to get rid of the football.
Good speed from those Hertfordshire defensive line and linebackers chasing Cam down. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. This time Cam's on the sideline, so quarterback on the field will be changed. And they line up with Chris Winrow at quarterback, and he will have the quarterback sneak up the middle for a gain of 7 or 8 yards. So the change at quarterback gives them that opportunity to just run the ball straight up the field.
Yeah, big gain from a QB keeper as well. About 5 yards looking at where they've put the down marker.
Chris Winrow was the Div 1 Championship MVP 2 years ago. Still with the program and making an impact here early in this one. 3rd and 4 now. 2 running backs in the backfield, 2 receivers top of your screen. Chris is going to keep this one, and there he's found a big hole up the middle. And that's going to go for a gain of 15. So Chris Winrow with 2 big runs up the middle and is really exploiting the heart of that Canes defense, and they're going to need to find a way to stop the leakage there.
Yeah, that was a big chunk play to find straight up the middle, and it's the one thing the defense doesn't like to give up. If you show weakness through the middle, it's never a good sign.
It's similar to what we saw from Coventry, wasn't it, this morning, this early afternoon rather, with these quarterbacks that can run the ball. Such a danger, such a threat. 1st and 10 then, new set of downs for Leeds. Winrow again up the middle on the QB sneak. They still are not shutting it down at the Canes. And that's going to go for another gain of 6. Well, we can do this all day long.
Yeah, we can, absolutely. But there's some big boys on that offensive line that Winrow is just walking behind.
Winrow, of course, had a big shoulder injury himself. They describe it as looking like a punched lasagna, which doesn't sound nice, when he had his shoulder injury. But came back and has become one of their leading rushers and has 7 rushing touchdowns already this season. So an amazing comeback story for him. Here he is at the national final, Premiership final. 2nd and 5, calling out the plays now. Hertfordshire crowding that line of scrimmage, and again it's Winrow up the middle. And again they get that initial push. That's a gain of about 4 yards by the looks of things, which is going to give short yardage situation. So what do you think about this strategy?
It's working for them. You know, don't fix what ain't broke. If they want to do this, you know, it's not great for the spectator, but ultimately they're not here for the spectator. They're here to win this football game.
3rd and short now, and this is the kind of situation where you would expect
Sneak it. Go on, sneak it.
So we'll see. They're blocking up those A gaps. You can see the Canes. They've got the big guys over centre, daring Chris Winrow to run it up the middle. Let's see what they dial up. And he is going to run. He runs big gap, and he does get the yardage he needs for the 1st down. So a game of dare going on in the middle there.
This is just our big men are better than your big men, and we're going to walk over you.
That's it. It's just those big guys in the middle.
And of course, the advantage that the offense have is that they know when the snap's coming. If that defense isn't quick enough up, this sneak is just going to pummel them all day long.
So we saw a bit of Cam early on, Cam Fry, but now it's been Chris Winrow on this drive, and he's stacking up the yards for himself and the statistics. This time he's going to pitch it out to number 35 rather.
Oscar Terry with the backfield tackle that time.
James Potts on the carry, but only a gain of about a yard. So it's going to bring up a second and long situation. Leeds are hugely effective so far on the quarterback sneak on these drives. And you know, we say quarterback sneak, but there is a design to it. You know, it's not just kind of, you know, keep the ball behind the centre.
It's not quite the same sneak that you'd see out of an I formation,
Absolutely.
but it is still
design run play, and again it's Chris running behind that, and this time they are wise to it and they drop him in the backfield.
Oscar Terry again, the man on the tackle.
Enough is enough, say the Canes. No more quarterback sneak, and that'll bring up third and long, and this time they will bring Cam on. So they're playing a bit of tag team, these quarterbacks. Cam Fry and Chris Winrow.
If you can do this effectively, if you can switch two quarterbacks in effectively, it can make for a very, very dangerous offense. But often you find that one quarterback will never quite find the rhythm.
Third down, they hand it off to number 23, who runs for a gain of about 5, maybe 6. Cam just coming on to hand that one off, so not going to the air. It's Tyler Broad again on the run.
Let's see if they go for it here on fourth down. It looks like there might be an injury timeout with one of the Hurricanes down on the floor.
Well, he's certainly been working hard in the middle of that defense, trying to stop these Chris Winrow runs and taking on these big blockers from the offensive line, and the running backs coming through behind.
Yeah, absolutely feel for that defensive line of the Hurricanes. It's not a nice situation to be in when you're just getting pummeled all day.
Down on the sideline, you know, early in the game when we went down and we saw the players, that there are very large side leads, especially on the offensive line, and we know that some of their linemen play both ways, but physically intimidating, especially in that interior guard position.
Yeah, I mean, you could see them when they ran through the flames coming in on their entrance. There were some big boys coming out of the tunnel, as it were.
So the crowd giving that injured player a clap as he gets to his feet, number 72, and he's making his way to the sideline, and that is Ryan Hunty, and we hope he's okay. All right, here we go. Cam under centre on fourth down. It looks like they are going to go for it. They get the ball out to 88 on the sideline. It's going to be a race to the sideline, and he doesn't get there. That's good coverage. 3 Hurricane defenders wrestle him down.
Yeah, he's well short there, so a nice momentum change here for the Hurricanes. See if their offense can get something on the board again before this first quarter ends.
So Christian Davis, they tried to get the receiving yards to him on fourth down, but it's a turnover on down, so that's a good job by this Canes defense.
I like this fact that you've got about Chris Winrow, and I don't know if Christian knows this or not, but apparently Chris is somewhat concerned that Christian's child will get in the way of their quality time. That's teammates for you, right?
And Christian's number 88 that just received that pass out to the flat. All right, so it's 1st and 10 for the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. It's 8-7. It's a tight encounter, this one. We're enjoying it very much here as Kit takes the snap. Oh! In and out of the hands of Yervier. Tried to bring it in, just bounced off his chest.
It was a low-line pass, and Yervier just had to slam the brakes on to try and grab that, but didn't quite muster it. Whether this quite left. There you go, slamming the brakes on, but as you say, just hitting the pads, not hitting the hands, and down that ball goes.
Taught to catch it with your hands, George.
Eyes first, got to watch the ball in.
2nd and 10, trips to the top of the screen. The play action, and this one's going to go incomplete. So they're trying to get this pass attack going, but if you throw on first down, you're incomplete. You throw on second down, you're incomplete.
It's a long way to go on third down.
Absolutely.
But we know that they've got some talented receivers.
So will they go to Yervier? Will they go somewhere else this time round?
Well, if you're that Leeds Beckett Carnegie defense, you know, you'd be expecting Yervier, and Kit's eyes have gone straight to him, but he's had to throw to the running back, and a big crunching hit coming in by Leeds number 10, Tiskus.
Nice hustle to the football by Leeds on the 3rd down, and that will bring up 4th down and 7 yards. Not a position on the field where you want to fake it, you want to protect the ball. Probably going to hoof this one downfield.
It was great coverage by the Carnegie defence there. Kit having to try and look them off, but it didn't work for him, and just dumping it down to the running back. Not enough to get that first thing.
So 4th down, let's see what they can do here as the punt. Was it partially blocked? I didn't see a hand touch the ball. It comes out a little bit squiffy, but it gets down to the 35-yard line, so effective in the end. Not returned by Leeds, and it means that Carnegie will take over at that point. Tight game going back and forth. Leeds come out and score. Hertfordshire Hurricane come out and have that touchdown pass to Yervier.
With 12 seconds left on this first quarter, it's been a great first quarter of football. It's had everything. I think the only thing we've not quite had is a turnover.
First and 10. Leeds at the 35, and it's Chris Winrow they start with under centre. He's been doing these quarterback sneaks in this first quarter a lot, and again they try and get him going with the ball, and they maybe pick up 3 yards on that one. Hurricanes trying to rip that ball out.
I mean, all they're really looking for on that play is a 4-yard pickup. Just 4 yards at a time, just keep slightly ahead of the downs and empty, run that clock down and keep on moving.
So the stick chains are moving. Looks like the end of the first quarter. So at the end of the first, we have Leeds Beckett University with 8 points and Hertfordshire Hurricanes 7. A tight encounter here. If you've just joined us, welcome along. We're just about to start quarter 2 of this National Premiership final. Sun is shining now down on us on the rooftop here. Got a great view of the game, as do you do, thanks to Onside Productions live streaming this game to you. And here we go, 2nd and 7. And this is number 23 with a nice run. And that is Tyler Broad, who we've called a number of times already today.
Yeah, of course, that earlier touchdown to his name.
Yeah, the BUCS live stream with Onside Productions. We're happy to be here. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. First and 10 after that run. Tyler Broad with the first down. Here we go again. And this will be a pitch out. And a good takedown from the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. So at the beginning of this second quarter, Hertfordshire now into Leeds territory. Sorry, Leeds into Hertfordshire territory. And they continue to stick with Chris Winrow at quarterback. And it's effective.
Yeah, it really has been working for them. The previous drive, he managed to march his way downfield on, well, I think it was a quarterback sneak almost all the way down the field, but didn't quite manage to punch it in.
So Hertfordshire crowding that line of scrimmage with that defence. They've got 8 players in the box against this flexbone offence of Leeds, and it's Winrow again that keeps the ball and is met quickly by number 1 Naji Mundicha.
Yeah, flag in the backfield there, so I'm not sure whether they've spotted some holding. Wait and see what the official's call is here.
Second and 8 coming up, but we will wait and see what the call is.
Illegal shift. 3 men on the offense moving at the same time. That penalty has been declined. 3rd down.
An interesting call, but It's 3rd and 8, so it's still a fair distance to go from a team that hasn't had much in the way of passing offense yet.
This is where they were swapping in Cam, wasn't it, earlier on in the game on these third downs, more of a passing situation, but they're keeping Chris Winrow in for this one. Let's see how they line up. So again, it's the flex bone with one running back behind and then these 2 wing backs, but they want a timeout to have a think about this. And it is a critical...
Timeout, Leeds. The first of the half.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Dale Bottomley spotted something and is having a quick word with Brian Smith, the receiver, before they change things up. So whether they've found a potential hold in that Leeds Beckett in the Hertfordshire Hurricanes zone. Tyler Broad's earlier touchdown for you, short pass and a big run, and then of course followed up by the return punch of Gervier.
So, after the timeout, let's see what Leeds can dial up on this critical 3rd down play. 3rd and 7. Critical point in the game. You can feel the tension around this play. So they have Chris Winrow on the field, flex bone. They go play action, and they're looking to get number 12, and they do complete that one, and it will be a 1st down, and that's why they called the timeout. Hertfordshire are saying the ball's out, and it is. We've got a signal from the quarterback on this, from the referee this side of the field, that the Hertfordshire Hurricanes have recovered a fumble.
Well, it was a great play to start with, but ultimately, if you don't secure that ball, making that 1st down means nothing.
So they go to one of their key players, Brian Smith, the American, who initially makes a fantastic play on the ball, and then Hertfordshire, who have been trying to rip the ball out all game, finally get one and get one out.
Yeah, Smith does well to catch that football, spins and tries to get to the sideline, and we'll just see where it pops out.
Looks like number 51 wrestling for the football there. Yeah, on the replay, great shot from our cameraman there looking at that, and that looks like 51 just ripped the ball out. And that is linebacker Lee Farmer making a play in the final. So it's 1st down Hurricanes. But they get caught in the backfield. We're back to live play now after that turnover.
Yeah, dropped handoff there, really. It's not what they wanted to start this drive.
And that's Busy Ryu on the run. Doesn't get anything at all, in fact loses yards, so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 14. And so here come Hertfordshire. Plenty of time left on this drive. 9:40 on the clock. Hertfordshire have a chance in this 2nd quarter to take the lead. They go out. Oh, and it's picked off. It's number 28. He's going to go all the way for the touchdown. And that is Sheldon Campbell, who stole the ball away from the receiver and takes the ball all the way for the touchdown. Pick 6, and Leeds have exploded into the lead.
Yeah, Campbell read that very, very well and ran it straight back. Nothing but green grass in front of him.
Kit just couldn't seem to get that one out quick enough, could he? It kind of hung in the air a little bit on its way. And we'll see if we can get you a replay of that. But, you know, sometimes you just get a great read from a defensive back, and that's what happened on that play. Just manages to snatch that ball away and go in.
Yeah, that flat zone that Campbell's in, that underneath flat, it's quite difficult sometimes for a quarterback to spot it if they're slightly offset. Offensive line often in the way. But Campbell reads that play well. Great grab, nothing but green, and in he went.
So Hertfordshire get the turnover, the momentum shifts, but the defense step up and make this 2-point play, and now they're lining up for 2 themselves. And it's Chris Winrow again. Will he get there? Yes. He squirms his way over, following his lead blocker. And so Leeds take another 2 points and extend their lead. 16 points to Leeds now and 7 to Hertfordshire. So the game's been going back and forth, but the big break goes to Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, it was somewhat unexpected, I think, from how these offenses have played, but they took advantage when it came.
We're going to have another look at the touchdown here. Tristan trying to get the ball out, but it just hangs in the air. The receiver doesn't go to the football, so the defensive back has a chance just to make the grab. Smart enough to make the grab and take it all the way in, and he's going to be loving that highlight reel.
Yeah, Varney never
home.
even sees Campbell underneath there, and great grab.
So here we go, back to the live action for the kickoff. Leeds kicking off to Hertfordshire. Let's see if Hertfordshire can drive right back at them as they did early on in this game. Nice high kick again, which allows the coverage team to get underneath it. It's fielded well, and there is the coverage team. They get him inside the 20 and push him back, but it's going to be forward progress to the 19-yard line. And again, great kick coverage, and it begins, I think, with the height of that kick.
Yeah, 9 players around that football. 9 Carnegie players at the end of that play. That's not a bad number to have down there.
Absolutely. So Hertfordshire backs against the wall a little bit here, starting from their 19-yard line. So not high risk, but they need to get a drive going. Plenty of time, as we said, on the clock before half-time. You're joining us with 9:20 left in this second quarter. There goes Kit straight to number 21, and that is bobbled and caught. So good hands there, and that is Kyle Yervier. We may have got the numbers mixed up earlier on in the game. Yervier is actually in shirt number 21, and it's Tim Oyelaja that had the touchdown earlier. So apologies to those players. Let's put that right. Oyelaja with the touchdown, but that's a great reception from Kyle Yervier. Brings up a first down.
Yeah, great concentration to bring in that football there.
Motion to the bottom of your screen. It's a handoff following his blockers, patient through the hole. Picks up a couple.
He does well there, shaking 2 tackles.
That's Beziriu, we've called his name a couple of times already. He's going to bring up a 2nd and 7 yards. Hertfordshire trying to get back into this one now, having gone a score behind on the pick 6 from Sheldon.
Nippy receiver that they've got in the backfield there. If he does find that seam, that little gap, that couple inches of space, he's going to take that ball far.
Kick goes up the seam, but this one's going to be incomplete, and it's well defended.
It looked like Brian Smith was the man coming over the top.
Absolutely, one of their American scholars.
Playing deep safety there.
And he's a guy that will hit you. You catch that ball, a danger guy in the middle of the field, reading the eyes of that quarterback and coming across, and will deliver a blow if he has to, but not on that one. That one scooted off the ground, and it was a good defense anyway. So bringing up 3rd and 7. Varney drops back, going deep, and a man wide open down the field. That is Yervier. Touchdown, Hurricanes. And there you go. We said they got the deep threat, and this time we did get the number right, and it is Yervier, and it is a score, and Hertfordshire are right back in this game.
Yeah, 2 receiving touchdowns for them now. Beckett need to find a way to stuff this passing game down.
Wow, we've got a corker, George. Premiership National Final.
I think
back
these predictions, I think, were a little far off perhaps with the guys on the ground, but there's still a long way to go.
Certainly both these offences have come to play, and defence. We've already had a defensive score as well. Hertfordshire, when they've been tested, they need to come up with a score. They certainly have. They are going for 2 on this play. 2 receivers to the top of the screen, 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 back. Kit takes it, play action, that one's batted down. So good defensive pressure from number 10 from Leeds, and that is Saranas Tiskus. And he bats that ball down.
Keeps them within a field goal.
So we have a game now on our hand, which is now 1 score. 16-13, as you say, George, a field goal in it.
It'll be interesting to see which quarterback comes out onto the field for Beckett. Whether it'll be Winrow or whether it'll be number 18, Cam Fry. and see which way they go, whether they back Winrow running up the middle, or whether they put the ball in the air a bit more with Cam.
And do you think that tag team quarterback situation is working for them at the moment? I mean, they've got one score on the board. The other score came from their defence.
Oh, they've moved the ball. They've moved the ball, and that's what this offense is based around. Just need to find a way to punch it in once they hit that 20-yard marker.
So the Canes kick this one off, and this will be fielded by Leeds. And this is a good return up the middle, still on his feet, hurdling players. There you go, George. And that was Brian Smith playing that safety position there, American scholar, and showing some of the pace that he has. Brings it out to the 32-yard line, which is where Leeds will begin this drive.
Brings today's hurdle count to 3.
Excellent job,
two in the first game. I'm keeping track of that. It's real athleticism to try and hurdle somebody.
Flexbone, it's Chris Winrow under centre, I believe. Oh no, it's Cam actually, and he will go to Brian Smith. Nice tackle on the sideline there from the Hurricanes defender in space.
Yeah, beautiful tackle there.
And that was Joseph Aduli.
Nice little screenplay though. Looks like Davies has come the worst off there.
So that was Cam with that pass, and then they tag team in again, and Chris Winrow comes on the field. So not just swapping every series, but swapping almost every down. This offense may be used to this. Certainly they're used to these two quarterbacks, maybe not swapping in as much as they are in this game, but the offense will be used to them both. Oh! And just as I say that, the ball hits the ground, hits the turf. And maybe that's one of the reasons, you know, as a centre, you have different players, they have different mannerisms, different behaviours, and sometimes you get caught out.
Not a huge loss, but it will bring them to a 3rd and long situation. 9 yards to try and pick up here as the quarterbacks switch one more time.
Heavy set again, Flexbone, 2 wing backs. Cam under centre. Takes the ball back on the pass. Good pressure. Cam just eluding it nice and easy and lofts one over.
Oh!
Beautifully executed on both sides of the football. Good pressure. Cam Fry does a great job of just sidestepping the pressure and lofting the ball over, but it's actually tackled just short of the first down.
Yeah, and there was a huge crunch at the end of that play. It's a great grab, having to come back towards it, and I think it was Hertfordshire Hurricanes taking each other out. It looks like there's an injury on the field. Number 73, Jack Sindel, is the man on the ground.
So Oscar Terry on the tackle there for Hertfordshire, just to deny James Potts the opportunity to get the first down. But we do have an injury timeout.
He's been one of the Hurricanes' standout defenders so far. 3 crucial tackles.
So Jack Sindel back on his feet. That's good to see.
Prior
as
to
he
the
gets
pass.
Ripple of
Holding.
applause coming off the field.
44 defence. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, that's a surprise. We're just singing his praises, Oscar Terry, and it turns out he was holding all the time.
Oh, awful.
So that gives them the first down and keeps this drive going for Leeds.
Curse of the commentator strikes again.
Winrow under centre this time. He's going to keep the ball again. So familiar now, this run. He's a good little runner, isn't he? As he barrels his way for a gain of about 13 and another first down to keep this drive going.
Yeah, he does a good job of reading the blocks and following the lanes. Looks like there's a little bit of handbags there.
Frustration maybe must be on the Hertfordshire Hurricanes side. Just that they can't seem to get this play stopped. And it's just a simple little play of following that running back through the hole.
He takes out 2 players on his way through as well. Keep that freight train rolling.
So it's another first down for Leeds. This time they have 2 receivers to the bottom of the screen, 2 running backs in a kind of pro formation, 1 receiver to the top. Bit of motion, and it's Winrow again. So they razzle-dazzle, yeah, but Chris keeps the ball. And this looks like it's going to go for another 9 yards. So what's that? Look this way, and then we'll just hand it off to Chris.
Well, a little bit of deception maybe to give it somewhat of a different look, but
essentially the same play.
If it's working for you.
Do you like this style of offense, George?
Do I like it to look at from a defensive perspective, or from an offensive perspective? It's clearly effective. You know, and ultimately, whether it looks pretty or not, if you're driving the ball down the field, it's a good offense, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is for Leeds. It's second and short. Here we go. Pro formation again, 2 running backs in the backfield. Motion now from 32. This time he is going to cross the centre. And again, it's Chris. And again, it's a first down. And so we might be able to, hey, we could get a prediction stakes going on this. We might do quite well, George.
What? How many times Chris Winrow runs the ball?
How many times we predict the play?
This is when they start changing it all up, and we never see him run the football.
Well, they did, didn't they? I mean, the last drive where Chris was kind of running down, and then as they got closer to the end zone, they did switch it up a little. And it was actually less effective. But let's keep an eye and see what Leeds do here. Again, Winrow in. Again, same formation, 32 down. We've had motion from him, and he motions again. Same play. And it's Winrow again. And Winrow ducking and diving and twisting. Gets another 3 yards. So again, I don't know what his stats are, but he's certainly the leader rusher on the field so far.
Absolutely. Certainly rocking up those stats.
What do you do? What do you do on defense?
Here they are talking. Oh, do you want to run it again?
Chris,
let's have a go.
What do you do on defense to stop this?
What do you do? Because ultimately, if you stuff the middle, you know that they've got some talented athletes elsewhere, and that's what they're going to try and do. They want you to draw in, and then they'll send it outside.
3 backs in the backfield this time, 32 in motion, but again it's Winrow up the middle, and again it's a gain of about 2, maybe 3, as they edge even closer to that goal line, all the time taking time off the clock. 3:20 now as the clock ticks down, and this is the Winrow drive. I mean, it's not just him though, is it? It's the offensive line, it's the running backs coming through blocking, it's you know, the clever bit of deception, it's keeping people off balance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a full team offense. The whole team needs to do everything that they can to keep Winrow moving, form some sort of a moving shield, moving wall, and just allow him to follow his blocks. But Cam Fry is in this time.
So Cam under centre will get something different now as he looks to pass, and that is, well, it was close. Brian Smith there, their American scholar, we've called his name a number of times, just couldn't haul the ball in. Had a chance for a touchdown though.
Yeah, absolutely. He would have done well to keep his feet in bounds there as well, but just not able to bring it in.
So, 4th and short.
Well, Winrow's back in.
So what are we predicting? Let me guess.
Well, we'll see what the defense is predicting by how they line that front up.
Absolutely. So they are going to put 3 guys over the centre, over those A-gaps. And it is Chris, and he does barrel forwards, and he does get the first down. So effective again, despite the Hurricanes trying to pile those guys in the centre.
Yeah, he somewhat runs almost like in between the B and the C gap, where the guard once was.
And again, like you were saying earlier on, it's just man on man, isn't it? It's just
a mano
get
on
lower
mano,
to your man and get him back.
But if you back your offensive line just to bully their way downfield.
Timeout on the field. Officials timeout. That is a 2 minutes warning. 2 minutes left in the half.
All right, so that brings us to the 2-minute warning. And Leeds controlling the clock. They have a 3-point lead. This is a key drive for them. And they're slowly grinding down the field with Chris Winrow. Let's see what they do on this one. It's Chris again. This time he is stuffed in the backfield, so they're caught from behind.
Great play. It looks like 45 of the Hurricanes. Akinina was the man that pushed his way through and brought him down.
Second and goal. They're about on the 5-yard line now. The clock is a factor for them. It's 1:40. I think they have 2 timeouts left, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I do wonder whether Leeds are just going to maybe snap this at the last second every play, but Winrow running again.
Winrow very close. Is he in? He is in! So Winrow. It's the Winrow drive. Drives down the field, gets the first down on 4th down and takes it into the end zone. And Chris Winrow making the difference with his legs. Leeds just stretch that lead as we go close to the half now with 1:27, we think, left on the clock.
Well, if they get 2 here within the first half, we've already had more points than we had in this morning's game.
Absolutely. 22-13. Leeds winning this one, and they're going to go for 2 again. Again, Chris Winrow keeping the ball, following those blockers, but he's unsuccessful on this attempt. So it will remain a 9-point gap between Leeds and Hertfordshire. So it is a 2-score game. And Leeds with a very strong clock-sapping drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And Winrow finally getting that touchdown that he thoroughly deserved.
Now, we know Hertfordshire can strike quickly. We've got 1:24 on the clock. They've already had a score from Oyalaja. They've already had a score from Yervier. Let's see whether Varney can dial up something in this last 90 seconds.
We know that they've got the receivers to go the length if they need to. See what kind of kick Carnegie put up here.
So Fred Idiong with the kick, and it is a high kick. Another good kick down to the 1-yard line. Dropped initially, but then picked up by Yervier, who has a head of steam on him. But again, good coverage as Leeds rally to the ball. So Hertfordshire will take over at the 25-yard line. 26.
Yervier showing his speed. Didn't quite catch the ball cleanly, but when he did finally pick it up, you saw the electricity that he has.
Absolutely. All right. You got 90 seconds. You're Varney, you're in the national final. The half-time's coming. You want to make a difference. On 1st down, they hand it off. It's a 2-yard gain. The clock continues to run. So a conservative play on 1st down, not calling a timeout, but they are coming to the line of scrimmage fairly quickly. I think they'll try something here. If they get it, they might call the timeout. So here's Varney, dropping back. Let's see what sort of arm Varney's got. Has to get on the move, does complete. And that's a nice tackle to keep Alex Rodwell in bounds. Rodwell, nevertheless, will move the sticks.
So much time for Varney in the pocket there. And when the pressure did finally come, and look, no pressure.
41 seconds left in the half.
Finds his man. It was a great grab, and unfortunate really that the defensive back, Campbell, didn't quite knock it out, but great grab, nice pickup.
Hertfordshire finding space. They call the timeout, so they can take a little bit of time to decide what they want to do next. They want to score before they go into the half. I think if that play had been unsuccessful, they would have probably just, run the ball or run the clock out, but they have a chance now. Just outside Leeds territory, as Varney goes over, speaking to the coach, decide what they're going to do. What do you see here, George? Something deep?
Well, you've got 41 seconds still on the clock, so if you can get out of bounds, you've got time to run 3-4 plays maybe.
So we've got Oyalaja to the bottom of your screen, Yervier to the top of your screen. Those are your 2 scorers. This time they are going to hand the ball off, and it's a good call because it's gone for about 12 yards. Will they call a timeout here?
James Schofield was the running man.
Timeout. Hertfordshire, the second of the half. 34 seconds left.
So they do call the timeout. Not sure whether they've got one left. I think they have one timeout left.
They've got one left, yeah. So we'll see. 36, 37 yards to go. Certainly time to run 2 plays. Should get 3 plays in if they need to.
So what if you do if you lead? You want to defend the deep ball. I think that safety lurking back there, Brian Smith.
I think the key here really is to defend probably in the British game that 25-yard line, 20-yard line, and at least keep them out of field goal distance.
Yeah, even a field goal would bring them within 1 score.
Yeah, a field goal, yeah. I think Hertfordshire Hurricanes would be very happy with. You know, it would bring the scores to 16-22. And as you say, it would put them in that 1-score range. So perhaps with these shorter plays, that's what the Canes are looking to do.
A new set of downs, but the clock's against them. 34 seconds left. Varney takes the snap. Looks to go to our near sideline, and that's complete. Will he get out of bounds? Yes, looks like he stops the clock. So that's a nice heads-up play by James Schofield, who's a GB wide receiver.
Very, very close to being picked off, though. But a wonderful grab by Schofield, and a good job to get out of bounds here.
Schofield does a good job coming back to the football and then spinning out of that tackle, trying to keep the ball away from Brian Smith, who's lurking back there for Leeds. Varney now, 28 seconds left. First down again, drops back, looks to his right, back to his left now, goes to Schofield again, and that's a good piece of defending there from number 23, who is Tyler Broad.
Yeah, great defensive work there by the defensive backs. 2 of them in the area. It's what you want to see.
Tyler Broad back there playing safety. We've also seen him play a little bit of running back. So they're getting their...
And of course, he got that receiving touchdown earlier on in the game.
So they're getting their best players out on the field, are Leeds.
From that play, it looks like the Hurricanes are just going to try and get this into the end zone.
Second down, 21 seconds left on the clock now for this Hurricanes team. The ball is going over to the right-hand side this time, and that's defended, but a flag comes in.
That could be pass interference, although a rather soft call if it is, but nevertheless, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Let's see whether this is offense or defense. There's a bit of... Yeah, there's definitely contact early on. There doesn't look to be anything wrong here.
Oh, perhaps he just didn't have his head turned around.
Pass interference. Number 30 on the defense. 15 yards previous spot. Automatic first down.
Wow, well that just puts the Hurricanes in good striking position.
It was a soft call, but ultimately as a defensive back, if you don't get your head turned around, you're fair game for that call.
So you've got maybe 10 seconds left, maybe a little longer. Varney has to strike quickly.
And it's stripped.
Bat it out of his hand, he picks it up, and we go for a big loss. So the pressure is definitely a fumble. Hertfordshire are going to take their third and final timeout, I believe. So great pressure there from Leeds, and then the turnover almost coming.
Hertfordshire,
Elliot
third
Tarrant.
and final. 5 seconds left in the half.
Elliot Tarrant, number 50.
Oh, it's not actually. It's not knocked out. It just pops loose out of his hand. It's well tracked down, but what a way to recover from that mistake on a penalty.
So it's another timeout for Hertfordshire. We'll just check what the time is for you. We'll get that up on the screen as soon as we can.
5 seconds left on the clock. So here, if you've got a kicker that's got the range, I'd seriously consider going for a field goal, but it looks from the talk that they may well be going for the end zone.
So having been as close as the 15-yard line, they've now got to line up on this second down attempt from the 22. And this will be what should be probably the last play of the half. Trips left, Varney looks left and goes left, has a Tried to go to Olanyana, but can't get the ball there. Well defended.
And the signals are going for the half.
So Tyler Broad makes the last play of the half on behalf of Leeds Carnegie to deny the scorer, Tim Oyalaja, the chance to get closer on this scoreboard.
And that was a crucial defensive play, keeps them 2 scores away rather than 1.
So as we come to the half, the score here in the National Premiership final, brought to you by BUCS, is Leeds Beckett 22 and Hertfordshire Hurricanes 13. We hope you've enjoyed the first half. We're going to take a quick break and then we will be back with half-time analysis from our crew down on the sideline. So we'll see you shortly after this break.
I'm 100 and I'm getting it. Como Lomo, luxury. I'm a manager up in this. When I turn up, you know I'm on my. Yes, I'm on my. Yes, I'm on my. I am so. Yes, I am so.
Welcome to halftime here at our national championship game. And just while Joe sorts his mic out, he's back with us. Maybe not. We'll use this one, Joe. No problem. We've got a ball game, gents. Hey, how's this? Score predictions were pretty good for the first half, Joe. But
I do my best. I can try and get it right as best I can. Well, I'm 2 points out. That's not too bad.
That's not bad at all. Your prediction's looking better, though, because we're halfway there.
Yeah, I'm on track, aren't I? Yeah, about halfway there. Yeah, not bad.
Surprised by how Hertfordshire have managed to contain, shall we say, Leeds?
Not at all. No, Hearts have got a great defensive coordinator in Matt Smith. He's worked really, really hard in preparation for this game, and they're doing exactly what they should be doing. The one play that they're really, really struggling with is containing the QB follow, which is the play that was the most recent touchdown, I believe.
Took a few notes midway through that game. There's one possession where Leeds had 8 plays, and all of them involving a QB run. That's their offense. Interesting about personnel as well. I think when you see Winrow go back in there, he's kind of the running quarterback. He runs the option stuff, and Cam, the American kid, he's more of the pass guy. And but that's their offense. If the read is QB keep, then he's going to keep it. So let's take a look at some of those first half highlights. We can have a look at the scores. Hertfordshire went 3 and out on their first possession. QB fumbling a couple of times. Then Leeds' first possession. Number 23, Tyler Broad, opened the scoring for Hertfordshire with a nice 18-yard reception.
Yeah, it was a really good opportunity to bring the defence, further in because you're running the ball effectively and throwing the ball over the top. It's great opportunity. Oh, sorry, running a bubble. It was a really good bubbles play. Yeah.
Chris Rimrow added in the extra 2 points to make it 8-0, and then we wondered whether that would open the floodgates. Hertfordshire came back, and Bisseriu with a big run, which led to a Tim Olelaja TD 20 yards out from Kit Varney.
Yeah, really nice. I mean, the run, they motioned away into trips, and I think the backers got caught moving and weren't in their fits. And then the touchdown, again, they're in 3-by-1, and the corner's playing outside leverage, so the receiver takes inside, and the safety wasn't there to help. So, yeah, really nice play.
So then we've got an 8-7 scoreline, and Hertfordshire went for the extra point and converted it. And then Leeds took over, and I mentioned about that drive where there was nothing but QB lead, QB option, QB sneak, and literally they looked like they were effective, but then went on 4th down, obviously where the field position was, and just went 4 and out and got nothing from that.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen from time to time with a triple option offence. You're going to struggle to get the ball into the end zone. It's just they're going to be aggressive, and sometimes that's just not going to pay off.
Scoring done for the first period then, and into the second, Leeds again took what was very much their way of doing things, that ball control offence on the ground, and it was Brian Smith this time who completed the pass, and a really great completion from the quarterback, got down to Brian Smith, but then Brian fumbled it, and a turnover, momentum swinging back Leeds' way. Hertfordshire's way. Yeah, he caught that slant, turn up field, and the ball was just a bit loose, and the backer did a good job kind of hustling back, and took the ball away. Good call by the refs, because I think they were just about to blow it dead, but the ball had come out, so good call. And just when you think that was a swing in terms of Hertfordshire's favour, Kit Varney steps up, and we get our first defensive score of the afternoon, a big pick 6 by Sheldon Campbell, number 28. Yeah, I think he just threw it a bit late, unfortunately, and it was a challenging position to be in for Kit. But great job by Sheldon. That was fantastic. Always a danger throwing out to the wing, and when that linebacker or the safety's coming underneath to pick that off, and that's exactly what Sheldon did. Yeah, I think it's that cover 2 coverage, and they've ran number 1 over the top there, and the corner's gone with him, so the out should be open, but I think it was just underthrown, really. Like Joe said, just waited, maybe steadied it down a little bit too much, and Sheldon's a great athlete, and really good job taking it to the house as well. Winrow again added the extra 2, and Hertfordshire then you're thinking, can they get back into this? And a big 55-yard bomb from Varney to Kyle Jervier, rather. Yeah, Kyle's one of Kit's favourite passing targets, so he's doing really well with being able to get hold of that, and he just gets the ball over the top, and that's what we want to see more of Hearts, to be able to keep themselves in that game. And we have got this back and forward type of ordeal, and as it was, Leeds then marched down once again, and just with a couple of minutes left, managed to put another score on the board, which is what gives us the scoreline we've got currently, James. Yeah, another good drive, ball possession, Chris, carry after carry, making yards, and that's, took the lead. So that gives us the score we've got. There was a nice drive at the end from Hertfordshire, and we thought they may get in, but just came up short and stalled, which gives us that scoreline that you might see behind us, that 22-13 advantage in favour of Leeds Beckett Carnegie. Expect more of the same from the second half, gents? Yeah, absolutely, and Hearts will be trying to get that ball into the hands of their wide receivers in space, and trying to move the ball down the field, just like they did with James Schofield towards the end there. And I think Hearts need to do that with the ball in the air, and just to be able to bring a few guys out of the box defensively, because the running back for Hearts is fantastic. He's done some really, really good work, but only when he's got a box that he can run at. And do you feel that Hertfordshire themselves will feel they can contain that power running game, that quarterback that's a real difficult thing to stop. Do you think they've got the sort of liking of that?
Yeah, they made some adjustments. They kind of went to a bare front, and that definitely helped for a bit. I think you can't really live in that the whole game because Dale will make adjustments as well. But I'd be pleased if I was Hearts with their defensive performance so far. They just need, their offense has been decent. They just need a little bit more. They could have really done with the score at the end of the half. They're in the game though.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for now, gents. We'll join us again in the second half. I mentioned earlier on, if you were watching the broadcast, last weekend in Leicester, Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans quarterback, was over. He's on a European tour currently, and he spent a little bit of time up in Leicester coaching some of our British quarterbacks. We managed to catch up with him for a brief conversation to find out what he was doing over here and how he's finding things so far. I'm sat here with NFL Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. Welcome to the UK, Deshaun.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, Gainesville, Georgia, 23 years ago. Did you ever imagine you'd be sat in the heart of England in Leicester on a March day coaching British quarterbacks?
Not at all. That wasn't even on my mind. It wasn't on my radar. Not something that I didn't want to do. I just never thought I would be able to, at 23 years old, be able to travel the world and do the things I'm doing. So it's a blessing for sure, and it's great to be able to get the experience and do what I'm doing.
So talk us through what you are doing over here, because I know you're not just in the UK, you're on a European tour a little bit. So talk us through what the itinerary is and where you're headed on this tour.
Just experiencing, different cultures, going to different countries, kind of giving my advice and my tips on the game of American football, because I know it's bigger than what the world is really portraying that it is. It's not really just in the United States, it's global. Sure. And a lot of different countries really want, is open for help for a lot of NFL players to come over and kind of spend time with them and kind of give them advice and show them tips on how to, build their craft and build their brand and build their organization with the football. So that's something I'm taking passion about and really enjoying and getting to, hang with new people and new, vibes and new energy, and, I'm loving it.
Have you been surprised with the response you've had coming over here, and equally with the talent that you've seen with the quarterbacks out there today?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say surprised. It's just it's cool to be able to see the response that people want to learn, people want to try to build their craft, and people from all over is flying in and coming to the UK or Germany or wherever I'm going to visit to try to learn. So it's awesome.
How much do you know about American football in the UK? Do you got much of a background in it? You've followed anything at all, or are you very fresh on it all?
I'm very fresh. I thought the biggest thing was rugby and soccer. That's all I really thought about it. Even last year when I went to Germany, it was huge. It was huge over there and how big it was. So everything that I'm experiencing in the UK and on this Europe tour is refreshing and is brand new to me.
Has there been any chat at the moment amongst your teammates about the trip to London in the fall? Are people excited? What's the general feel?
Oh yeah, everyone's very excited. We get to play against our in-division rival, Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think their owner is from the UK. So I think they come over here every year. So it'll be good. It'll be a lot of energy, a lot of people there for both sides, and come over here and get the W.
It's a question that's asked a lot, but do you think there's ever going to be an NFL franchise based in the UK?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would never say never. Okay. I think the hardest thing would be scheduling, just because of the trip. Sure. You got to fly 8 hours, and sometimes if you're playing a team on the West Coast, it's 15 hours. So I think it just all depends on the scheduling, but I would never say never.
Okay. And finally, obviously you're over here for football reasons, but there's more to life than football. Have you got anything else planned for your trip while you're in Europe? Have you anything you wanted to see? Any sort of things on your to-do list while you're over here?
Everything, really. I'm open for everything. Whatever country I'm in or wherever city I'm in, I just want to experience the history and the culture and the food and the shopping and the people and just kind of just experience that. I love the vibe and the energy in Europe, and it's a blessing to be able to come and get the experience.
Well, can I just say, as an NFL fan for nearly 30 years, it's an honour to meet you and how fantastic you've been with us and with everybody in the UK. So I wish you all the best for your trip and for the upcoming season, and thank you ever so much for your time this afternoon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
From Deshaun Watson and the fact that an NFL quarterback has come over to our shores and really sharing his passion was a real pleasure last weekend. Let's get back to this game then, our national final. Want to change any predictions, gents, before we pop upstairs?
No, I'm happy.
What, remind us, what do we have?
I think I said 40-26, so we're not far off that.
Joe? I did say it was going to be 21-14 or 22-14. So
didn't say when, did you?
No, not exactly. So I think I'd like to see the Hurricanes come back a little bit in the second half, and I'd like to see them passing the ball a little bit more. I'd love to see them put Leeds in a hole and see how Leeds can come away from that. You know, we've just been talking about how Leeds could struggle in the fourth quarter because their squad size is so small. So I think there's going to be a really interesting situation where we get to the fourth quarter, Leeds are getting tired, but Hearts are getting tired because they're being run on a lot, and that could be amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's thanks for now, gents. We'll hopefully catch up at the end of the game. Gentlemen, at the top there, George, Carl, do you agree with that analysis of the fact that it could be an issue in the fourth quarter for a smaller squad?
No.
No, we don't agree with that at all. We think it's going to be absolutely fine. Just wanted to say congrats on the Deshaun Watson interview, Matt. Good stuff, mate. Really good.
It was enjoyable.
So good to hear from him. He looked cold though, didn't he?
He did look really cold.
Chilly in Leicester.
Well, it was
hot in Houston.
It wasn't like Georgia that he's used to, or Houston, obviously, where he plays his ball now. But other than that, it was a really good day. It really was. Right, gents. We'll hand back to you to take us through the second half and enjoy the rest of the game, gents.
Should probably justify why I said no, really, and it is because of the way that offense is designed. It's designed to take away the clock, so that defense doesn't have to be on the field for a very long time. And it just grinds it down and makes for a quicker game.
Yeah, they do have players that play both ways, don't they? So especially some of these bigger guys that you can tell are playing, offensive line and defensive line, and they seem to be coping with it so far.
They've been conditioning for this all year, so.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're looking forward to this second half. If you're just joining us for the second half, you've missed a great first half of football. It's a 9-point game. Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie. With a 9-point lead. Both teams have shown that they can move the ball, and it has been that classic competition, strong running game from Leeds, and then the explosive offensive downfield plays from Hertfordshire, and it's been a really good game.
It's got a real great game day feel as well. The sun's out, just getting lower now. The burger van's down there, people are happy and merry and having a bit of a sing-along over the half-time, and here we go for the second half.
Kick-off then, and it's a muffed return, but Leeds player number 23 does pick it up and is now making good progress down the right-hand side before a collection of Hertfordshire players come and take him to the ground.
Yeah, Broad, the man on the return.
So, Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie will come out for the first drive of the second half. They were the ones that scored first, despite the fact that the Hurricanes didn't make much of their first series in that first half. Let's see if Leeds can do better. They certainly drew first blood on the scoreboard, and we'll see if they can do the same here in the beginning of this second half.
Yeah, we know the offense can move the football, that's for sure. Have they come out with Winrow or Cam Fry? It looks like Winrow is at the helm.
So Winrow, we've seen with his quarterback follows, quarterback sneaks, and again this time he will hand it off to the running back through the hole, who breaks it open, and he's gone for, 25 yards on the opening play. So maybe the expectation was that Winrow would take the ball off the first snap, but they just hand it off to James Potts for a great opening play.
Yeah, and the defense just cracked straight open, and a great play by that Carnegie offense.
They've got to do something to shore up these B-gaps, don't they? With the quarterback turning around and either keeping the ball himself and following Potts through, or just handing it to Potts himself.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Like we mentioned earlier, if they give or put too much in the middle, this offense has a tendency to go around the edge.
Motion to the bottom of the screen. This time it's off the left-hand side, and it's number 32, which is Rio Huckvale. Takes the ball for a gain again of about 7 yards. They keep that ball moving. It's going to bring up maybe 2nd and 4.
Good start for them this first half. It will have been exactly what they were looking for.
So they're already at the 26-yard line of Hertfordshire.
Back in that running game and that big offensive line.
Less than 2 minutes off the clock. Winrow under centre this time. Takes the ball and hands it off. Again, it's Potts who breaks it through, and he's going to go all the way in. So, a dagger to the heart of Hertfordshire, but there is a flag on the play.
It's a quick score. We'll see what the flag is. It's in the vicinity. And it is on Carnegie. It is a holding call, so they'll be coming back. That touchdown is stricken off the record.
So James Potts will be disappointed with that one. Nevertheless, those holes, huge holes opening up. If you look at the replay here, maybe get a chance to see the hold, and also maybe get a chance to see those big holes opening up on this defensive line.
Yeah, big hole. Nice blocking as well on that left side of the line. And we'll see if Hertfordshire Hurricanes can really step up on this second opportunity.
Back to the live action. It's Potts' right-hand side, and it's a very similar story with him bursting through the middle for a gain of 9. And that'll be another first down by the looks of it, just waiting for the signal from the referees. Maybe a little short, actually.
The Canes don't look like they're very awake at the start of this second half, and they need to find a way to really step up and quickly.
They have given the first down now, having looked at where the ball is placed. So, Leeds back now at the 22-yard line, which is where they were before the penalty, before the hold. And they now have a first down within striking distance on their opening drive of the second half, if you've just joined us. Flexbone, Chris Winrow under centre. Again, very familiar formation now to us today. Play action this time, goes for the slant and completes.
Yeah, wonderful grab. Christian Davies there, Winrow to Davies.
So they go play action, pull those linebackers into that line of scrimmage and just manage to get that ball out behind those linebackers for the completion. So nice, well-designed offense.
Yeah, it was a really, really tight throwing window to get that ball through, but he managed to do it.
And when you're so concerned with stopping that run, it's difficult for the linebackers to do anything but hang around that line of scrimmage to try and tackle this run. It's Potts this time, right-hand side, trying to get the drive going. Brought down after a gain of about 6. And they're edging even closer now as they get to second and goal about the 4-yard line.
Every single one of these runs is another body blow to the Hurricanes defense.
Leeds with the lead, 9-point lead. So if they go in here, it's going to extend their lead. It's Potts, right-hand side, and he's in for the touchdown.
So much space for Potts, and he's got that touchdown back on the board.
So they did a drive almost with Winrow exclusively, and other than the slant pass on that time to Christian Davis on the two previous plays, on the one previous play rather, that's Potts. Potts' drive and Potts scores.
And I think it shows how much talent this team has. So many different weapons. We know they've got Winrow. Cam Fry's out there as well, and Potts, of course, he's had a good game and a very, very good drive. So
just looking at the blocking that's going on the right-hand side of this line, they get a double team on the nose, and then running back gets a good block. And Potts is only touched once he's in the end zone. They convert the extra point attempt kick, and that extends the score. Sorry, it was a 2-point on the 2 points. Winrow takes it in on the 2-pointer, and that extends the score 30-13. So Leeds extending that lead, and the Hurricanes now really need to reply, and they need to do it quickly.
Yeah, they do. They need a touchdown on this next drive. They're more than capable of doing it. Led by Kit Varney, of course. Already threw in 2 touchdowns, an interception as well, but 2 touchdowns and some talented receivers that can quite comfortably bring this game back if needed.
So it's going to be a critical drive for the Canes if they're going to stay in this national final. Brought to you by BUCS. And we're happy that you're with us here at Onside Productions. All right, so it's Canes bringing the ball out, and this one will get to about the 25-yard line. And on the return is Tim Oyalaja, who's already got a score himself, doing his kick return duties.
Yeah, nice return there. Not massive, but...
So here come the Canes now in a critical situation, George. We've seen them make yards through the air. Do you go for it all and try and get something in quick bites, or do you take your time and have a more measured drive to bring yourself back into the game?
It's difficult because of the offense they're playing against on the other side. The other offense is designed to take time away from the clock, which means that you won't get a lot of time if you grind it out.
So it's a run to start this drive, and Leeds are all over that one. It's Bizarizu, who we saw earlier on, but not much going on that right-hand side as Leeds rally to the ball. 2nd and 8.
On it like bears to honey. All over it.
Second down for Kit Varney and his Hurricanes team as they try to get back into this game. This time he is going to go double move from Yervier, and it's just outside of his reach there. Carl Yervier with a nice move, kind of chair pattern up the sideline.
Yeah, he's got some real speed when he gets going, and it wasn't that far off, and if he had caught that football, I think he'd have taken it to the house.
So Varney just can't connect on that one, but no doubt they will come back to Yervier. Third and 9, critical down now for Hertfordshire. They will want to not give the ball back to Leeds. Varney now looking downfield, goes across the middle, and this one's nearly picked again.
It was Campbell again, very nearly got his second pick.
Sheldon Campbell already with a touchdown and a pick 6. He's right there in the middle of the field again, having a great game. Fourth down. Too early to go for it, really, George, here. You'd want to punt, hope that your defence can stop this, this rolling attack of Leeds.
And you're in a bit of a rough spot as well. You're deep inside your own territory. I think they have to punt it.
So it's Axel Rodwell with this punt. Oh, and it's blocked! Picked up! And that is all the way for the touchdown. And that is a blow to Hertfordshire indeed, as Leeds extend their lead to 39 points.
Yeah, Spencer Hind with the touchdown there.
Just comes unblocked if you look on the replay. The line not picking him up. Gets his hands up in the air. Kick is a clean block, doesn't hit the kicker. And it's just daylight between him and the end zone as he high steps in.
Devastating blow. Absolutely not what they needed there.
So Leeds rocking it. On defence they've scored, on offence they've scored, and now on special teams, on the block punt they score. All three units really playing exceptionally well in this final. Very impressive.
Yeah, really firing on all cylinders, and you know they discussed it at half-time whether the lack of numbers would be an issue, but the bigger their gap grows, the more comfortable they'll be going into the fourth.
Winrow with the 2-point, familiar now to us as he on that QB follow. Joe Walker kindly named that play during the halftime show. It is the QB follow, and takes that ball in for an additional 2 points. That brings the score to 38-13. Is it out of the Hertfordshire's reach now? I mean, there were some people commenting on the live stream after the last score, maybe the Hurricanes couldn't come back. What do you think of their chances now, George?
Never say never. They're a talented team. You know, all Premiership teams are. There's no denying that. They wouldn't be in the Premiership if they weren't. Anything can happen in this game.
It is true. We saw we've seen teams come back from these scores before.
Well, you only have to look at the England-Scotland rugby game not all that long ago.
So, for those of you that are neutral, will you be staying with us? We hope you are, as this is not a high kick. Goes up into the air and this is fielded, but it will be fielded at the 15-yard line as the runner has to fall to his knees in order to catch the football.
It's going to make for a very, very long field here for the Hertfordshire Hurricanes.
Changes the context of the drive as well, doesn't it? Now it's just about, you know, calming down, putting a sustained drive together, making sure you don't make any mistakes, and just kind of clawing your way a little bit by bit back into this game to give you a chance in the fourth. Still plenty of time left on the clock, 7:45. Varney now going to the air, and this one is complete. And a nice move, still on his feet.
Yeah, good fighting. Those feet kept moving.
That's Tim Oyalajo, who's already had the touchdown. Still continues to fight, still continues to play hard for his team.
And those 12, 13, 14-yard chunk plays are going to be massive moving forward.
I think Leeds may be playing a little bit off. You know, they're not so close now that, you know, they've got this lead now. Often teams will back off a little bit. See if Hertfordshire can take advantage of that. Varney, high snap, takes it, looks to his right, and it is complete to Jervier. And that's a gain of about 5-6. So the 1-2 punch of Oyalaja and then Jervier on first and second on these to start these two series.
He certainly didn't catch it cleanly, but managed to bring it in.
See what Brian's.
Fence, 15 yards, automatic first down.
And a big face mask call there, going to tack on 15 yards.
So Brian Yates, his first call of this half, and it's a big one, 15 yards, which will take Hertfordshire into Leeds Beckett territory. Varney calling out signals to his right hand side, spread, 2 receivers top, 2 receivers bottom, comes to his bottom side, and well defended there from Leeds Beckett. That's Keaton Austin coming in to knock the ball out of Jervier's hands.
Yeah, and that was a wonderful play from him, crashing down from that high safety spot.
Jervier saying, come on man, where's the pass interference penalty?
It was clean. I'm sorry to tell you, but it was clean.
2 receivers at the top of your screen, 2 receivers to the bottom, familiar, spread formation, Jervier to the bottom. See where Varney goes on this one, audibles.
Austin was actually the covering corner there.
Single safety deep on this one. He'll go to the left-hand side, and that is well over the head of the intended receiver. And that will fall harmlessly incomplete.
Jervier hands in the air saying, I was open, I was open. Third and 10 and a big third down here for the Hurricanes. Desperately need to pick this up.
Same formation, running back to the right hand side, Jervier to the bottom of your screen and Oyalaja to the top. Varney looking for Jervier, has to scramble now, linebackers chasing, but Varney will get the first down. On third down and 10, he picks up 12. Good job, Varney.
Yeah, well read, saw that everybody was covered up and did the smart thing, got down as well. Great first down when they needed it.
Keeping this drive alive, keeping the chances of a national championship alive, is Varney with his feet. Brings up first and 10 at the 26-yard line now. Leeds threatening to blitz off the top side, but they don't, they back off. Varney looking to his right. And that's gone up into the air and is incomplete. Lucky it wasn't picked off. Again, it's that man Sheldon.
So really should have been picked off there, and actually I think it was Austin and Davies that came, Brian Smith that came across there. But, just some miscommunication here on defense. Both of them had strong chances to get it. I think it should have really been Austin's, but Smith says no, I want that ball, and neither of them come down, and Hertford should get another chance.
They're going to have to take some risks like that, aren't they, on these sorts of plays at this point in the game?
Yeah.
You've got to get the ball to your receivers. They're trying to get it to Jervier. Second and 10. Again, Varney looks his way. This time it comes short. Oh, that's a beautiful catch by Axel Rodwell, who takes a blow from the defender.
Crunched.
Helmet
Crunched.
off. And Rodwell is thinking about taking some deep breaths and getting himself sorted out. Like
that is massive, and you heard
clean
it.
Hit with the shoulder.
Played on the big screen as well. You heard that awe from the crowd. It really was a crunching hit.
Brian Smith delivering the blow from that free safety position.
Thrown down really like a ragdoll.
Absolutely, but it was clean, no flag. Rodwell going to the sideline. We hope he's okay. They'll obviously check him out now. They'll go through the concussion protocol, but he's putting his lid back on.
I think they've done a quick check on him on the field, so they're fairly happy with him.
First and 10 after that fantastic catch from Rodwell, holding on to the football. Motion to the bottom of your screen, and it's a reverse, and it's Onagana, and he's going to run to the 6-yard line.
Hind with a one-hand tackle, but there is a flag on the play.
Oyalaja with the reverse.
Suspect it'll be on the offense, but not quite sure why. Possibly a false start.
Illegal formation. Offence. 5-yard penalty, previous spot. It remains first down.
So an illegal formation call. Which will push them, they'll lose 5 yards on that. 1st and 15.
And that's a mental error more than anything, lining up in the wrong space, and unfortunately a final's not the place to be making those mental errors.
So where are we? 5:30 left in the third. Hurricanes down 38-13, desperately need a score here. 1st and 15 from the 15-yard line. Hand off this time. Some decent running room off that right-hand side. That's a pickup of 5 yards.
It looked like Broad was the tackling man there.
Biziriu again on the run. So it's going to come up 2nd and 7. We think it's looking at the chains, that it's possible to get a first down without a touchdown.
Only just, narrowly, but...
But obviously Hertfordshire will want to just take this in. So 2 receivers to the top of the screen, 2 receivers to the bottom. A good concerted effort here for Hurricanes to get back in. Play action on the jet sweep, wide open!
Has he got his feet down? The officials say no, the umpires say no.
Unlucky Axel Rodwell, who took that blow from Brian Smith.
I think he's unlucky there. I don't know if we can see it on the replay. Of course, they only need 1 foot in bounds, playing by college rules. So well, there's the grab. Well, it's definitely 1 foot. That's a touchdown.
Looks like a touchdown.
That is a touchdown, and you can see the calls on the big screen.
You see, for the first time, maybe, the replays are being shown here live on a big screen.
We'll see if the officials take notice of the big screen here, but
well, they can't, can they, George? It's unofficial.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So they might say, oh no, they might have a look at it and secretly go, oh no, we made the wrong call. But they can't actually.
No, of course we haven't got official review.
We haven't got the official review here. So here we go, Canes, 3rd down. They must get into the end zone. They go to Yervier. Oh, it's well defended again. And that's Keaton Austin, who's made a couple of good plays. Knocks that one away from Yervier to deny him the touchdown.
It makes life difficult, really. I think perhaps having it on the big screen but not having an official review. But that is how it is, I'm afraid.
Absolutely. So it comes down to this, 4th down on this drive. The Canes desperate to get a score on the board and stay in touch with Leeds. Varney takes the snap, looks to his right, again goes to Yervier. Oh no, it was to Rodwell actually, but it's incomplete. In the end, he was double coverage over there on the right-hand side.
Turnover.
So it's a turnover on downs.
And very, very unlucky are the Hertfordshire Hurricanes.
Let's have a look at this play. Varney.
Oh, centre goes down. Not sure whether it was intentional or not, but
that one just comes wobbling out, doesn't it? And it never really had a chance.
Yeah, Tiskus
was over there.
Looks like there's some confusion on that Leeds Beckett offence.
Big number 70 is Connor Rimington. He plays both ways. He's a huge unit. You'll see him coming onto your screen now. And he is coming in to play that right guard position.
Looks like they've got number
Cam is in. They hand the ball off. And again, driving, he gets picked up in the end and thrown back. And a flag goes down, and a second flag goes down.
Cam Fry back in the game. We'll see if he stays in for this drive or whether they go back to that 1-2 punch of Cam Fry and Winrow.
Trying desperately to stop this run. In the end, they have to pick the running back up. And I'm not sure that was an issue, but the issue was he picks him up and then hurls him to the floor.
It was the afters, yeah, absolutely.
So it's Jonathan Moore Jr. on the run. He gets picked up here, and then there you go. and the flag comes in, and that's Mundicha.
There are
that
2
we've
fouls
talked
on the
about.
play. Dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 1, defence. That penalty is at 15 yards, automatic first down. Subsequently, dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the assistant coach of Hertfordshire for a further 15 yards, first down.
Oh, and that is a big, big chunk of penalty yardage.
Well, that's a killer, isn't it? An absolute killer. You get 15 yards, and then the assistant coach, through his frustration, has obviously said something to the referees, and then you get another 15.
I should think head coach Simon Hatcher will be having words.
Well, I suppose from a Hertfordshire perspective, they're frustrated it wasn't a touchdown here in the end zone. They're frustrated they can't stop this run. When they do get hold of the running back, you know, they are going to try and wrestle him to the ground as best they can. It's 30 yards of penalties, and Leeds Carnegie keep on trucking off the left-hand side this time. That's a pickup of close to another first down.
I'll tell you what, if scores stay like this, James's prediction won't be too far off.
So the Canes desperate to stop this Leeds Carnegie offence, but struggling in the moment to do so. Fry continues to play under centre. This one is a handoff, and there's a lot of space as the running back breaks through the middle, and this is going to go for yet another Carnegie touchdown, and that is Chris Winrow from the running back position this time. So it's Fry to Winrow, both quarterbacks on the field, and Winrow busts one for his second touchdown of the day.
Stating a claim for the MVP.
And surely now impossible for Hertfordshire, even in the third quarter, to come back from this with the way Carnegie are playing.
Yeah, at this point in time, that never say never goes to a miracle needed, I think.
Winrow just with enough speed to get to the end zone. Big hole off the right-hand side, and then cuts it back to get under the posts. So let's see what they do here, whether they go for the extra point or they go for 2. They are going to line up for 2. It's Cam under centre, and he's going to roll to his right. Now he's going to throw, and that's well defended. So in the end, they can't convert on the 2-pointer.
Yeah, good defence that time.
But the score now, Leeds Beckett Carnegie 44, and the Hertfordshire Hurricanes 13. And it was just that. It was that episode at the end of that drive for Hertfordshire, wasn't it, where Rodwell tried to get in touch and it looked like a touchdown to us. It wasn't called a touchdown, it was called incomplete. Then you had the 30 yards of penalties, and it's really put a nail in the coffin for these Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see. But ultimately, that's the game we play. It's the game that's happening on the field, and you've got to keep those frustrations out of it. It's tough, but having control of that mental side of things can be the difference between a win and a loss.
Leeds really showing the quality that they've shown all season, really, with this very well drilled, frustrating offense to play against, and hugely effective on this flex bone. So here comes the kickoff with Hertfordshire. Again, a lovely high ball, allowing those kick coverage to get underneath it. And again, they meet the runner at about the 25-yard line. I believe that's Walrand on the return.
Hurricanes will want to get a score quickly here, I would think.
Lots of support we know from Hertfordshire out there in the Britball community. They've been to this national championship 6 times. They've maybe seen it all, but is it beyond their reach to come back from a scoreline that looks like this?
Well, you're a long way down, let's put it that way. It's 31 points down.
Trips to the bottom of the screen, and this one will be picked, and it's Sheldon again down the right-hand side. Will they be able to get him? And they do. Varney comes over with the covering tackle.
Looks like 23. Tyler Broad was the man with the pick.
You are quite right. It is Tyler Broad with the pick.
And a wonderful pick it was too.
We've called his name a couple of times. And that's the risk, isn't it? If you're Hertfordshire, you've got to put the ball in the air. You've got to try and stay in it. But you're gonna get defensive backs dropping back, watching the quarterback's eyes and able to make a play on the ball.
Yeah, it's possibly the toughest position to be in when you're so far down. The defense knows what's coming.
So Leeds now with the handoff this time on the right-hand side. That's Jonathan Moore Jr., who opens this series after the turnover from Tyler Broad.
Clock will keep ticking. Just under 3 minutes now left of the third quarter in this BUCS Premiership final.
So Q3's gone Leeds' way. And they've really been piling up the points since we restarted after the half. This one's going to go incomplete from Cam. And he wishes he had that one back.
Yeah, a long way behind Smith there.
One of the few things that hasn't gone to plan for Leeds.
The passing game doesn't need to be so dominant though when you've got a running game like they have, and they have really stamped all over the Hurricanes today.
So it's going to bring up 3rd and 6. They are on the 12-yard line of Hertfordshire, where they seem to have been camped in the Hertfordshire camp. Oh, that's going to be a false start by the looks of things.
False start, number 70, offence, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Connor Rimington. That'll take them back 5 yards.
It'll be 3rd and 10.
Third and 10. Cam's under centre. 3 running backs in the backfield. This one is a handoff and nowhere to go.
Stuffed in the backfield. Oscar Terry, the first man to the ball carrier.
And that's Tyler Broad, who made the interception, in the backfield running the ball.
So see what they elect to do on 4th and long.
So it looks like they're bringing on the kickers.
It's shouts of the field goal unit.
So 1:50 coming up on the clock in the 3rd, as Leeds Carnegie will line up for this kick. And it's Fred Idiong who will come in to attempt this one. Hold is good. Kick is blocked. And will they look to return it? At the moment, they will pick it up. And it's going to be a race to the sideline.
Jack Jones, the returning man there.
So partially blocked by Hertfordshire to deny Leeds any more points, and it will mean that Hertfordshire take over deep in their own half from about the 10-yard line.
Beckett, of course, only 1 touchdown away from that somewhat almighty 50.
Absolutely, 50 burger in the national final. Definitely on the horizon for the Leeds Carnegie, but Hertfordshire might want to say something about that. You can see Simon Hatcher clapping on the sideline, trying to get something out of his team. 2 receivers to the top, 2 receivers to the bottom. Varney is still in motion to number 10. This is a trick play, and he's going to throw the ball downfield, but unfortunately incomplete. So that is Tiskus. Sorry, that's not Tiskus. That's James Schofield throwing the ball for Hertfordshire.
Never really looked comfortable throwing that football there, but it was always worth a shot.
So Hertfordshire having to resort to trick plays in the back of the playbook, saying what can we get out of the bag to try and get a score on this Leeds Carnegie team.
Delving through the back pages of the playbook, see what they can find.
4 receivers out. Varney handles a poor snap well over the middle. Dangerous pass, but it could have been caught. And again, that's Rodwell.
There's a flag in the area of holding here.
this will bring up 3rd and 10. We'll see what the flag is from Brian Yates.
Holding by the snapper. Half distance to the goal, replay second down.
And that will put them in their own goalpost shadow.
Second and 15 now from their own 5-yard line. Hertfordshire backed up on the scoreboard and backed up on the field. Motion to the bottom of the screen now. Varney backed up in his own end zone, and that one's dangerously up into the air. It looked like it was batted and incomplete. It did hit the ground before the Leeds Carnegie player took it into the end zone, so that will be incomplete.
Yeah, definitely hit the ground there. So something seemed to go wrong on the right side of the line as Hyde gets clattered. Yeah, it was battered and hit the ground there.
3rd and 15. Varney would just want to get some space, I'm sure, for the punter to get this ball out of the end zone to avoid Leeds getting great field position again.
Looks like there may be an injury timeout. Number 22 on the floor currently, Fred Idiong. And he is being carried off. Not quite sure what he's done there. Perhaps a rolled ankle. He's got weight off one side, but hopefully he'll be okay.
That's Idiong, who's their kicker, and he's also playing on defence in that safety position. Third and 15 now. Varney looking rattled somewhat the last few series. We'll see whether he can keep his poise and get some space here. He looks to his left and goes deep. It's a nice lofted ball, but it's Tyler Broad again who picks this one off, weaving his way down the left-hand side, cuts back and all the way in for another pick six. Tyler Broad.
There is a flag on the play though, although it's in the vicinity of holding. We'll see whether this touchdown stands.
Number 56 offense. That penalty will be declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
And with that comes that mythical burger.
Well, if you're a Leeds fan, you must be loving this scoreline right now. Yes, you're not dreaming. Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie
To
just
confirm, we're
scored 50
now into
points.
a running clock phase. The clock will start when it's next legally first touched on the subsequent free kick.
And the national final goes into a running clock. Once the team goes 35 points ahead, we have a running clock. So it will not stop.
What a play. Worked his way through those gaps, followed where his blocking was, and finished off nicely.
Well, I don't think anyone was expecting this, and certainly in the first half we weren't expecting this. As Leeds line up for the two-pointer, they will go for two. It's Winrow again, and this time he will not get in. So small mercies for Hertfordshire as Chris Winrow doesn't convert on the two-pointer. So, did you envisage a running clock in the national final?
No. No. I don't think you expect it. You know, certainly in the Premiership, these are supposed to be the two best teams playing football out there today. They've fought their way through the regular season, through the postseason as well. But there is such a wide gap between these two teams. It's phenomenal.
It didn't seem that wide early on, did it?
No.
And I think it was definitely the Rodwell touchdown that wasn't given. There's always turning points in games, isn't there? And that was definitely one of them. Touchdown that wasn't given to Rodwell really put Hertfordshire out of it. And since then, they've just been trying to come back. And Leeds have just been picking the ball off whenever it's gone up into the air.
Yeah, it's tough for an offence, though, as we've said. Those defensive backs play a bit further off, and it's another mistake. And it's going to put them back on their own 5-yard line.
And again, the bad luck. If you're a Hertfordshire fan, it's just unlucky. Slips, loses his footing there. does Rodwell, and as a result, Rodwell goes to ground and Hertfordshire start from their 5-yard line.
No, they are just in a complete different ball game, I think, at this stage. Different class completely.
So we've got about 10 seconds left in this third quarter. I think this is going to run the clock down. Hertfordshire will not be getting a playoff before the third quarter ends, and it will take us into the fourth.
And as you have said, no play will be run, and it will take us into the fourth quarter.
So for those of you that are just joining us, there's 12 minutes left in this game into Q4. 50 points for Leeds Beckett and the Hurricanes on 13. It was close early on in the game, but since Q3 and the restart of the half, it's been all Leeds, and Leeds have really rattled up the scores. And as the Hurricanes have been trying to get back into this game, they've not been able to, because Leeds Beckett defenders have been back there.
Compared to last year's final, this is well, the last 2 years' finals. It's been a massive gulf in class between the two teams. Last year, they were very, very close. The year before, came down to a field goal at the very end of the game, and here, Leeds have just been dominant.
So Leeds will start the quarter 4 from their 5-yard line. 2 receivers out to the top of your screen, 2 receivers bottom, now looking to restore some pride in the programme in this national final. Varney in his own end zone tries to get the ball out.
Actually, the thing, they've changed of quarterback late on. It looks like 6. Lewis Culver is the man at the helm now.
Quite right, George, as that clock continues to run.
Giving the young buck a run out, some game time experience. I think they've taken this as we're not coming back. We'll give some of our younger guys some experience here on the big stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good choice by Hertfordshire Hurricanes. As we said, Coventry did something similar in the earlier game this morning, rather early, the early afternoon. Just some nice running here from Hertfordshire, and they will get the ball going for a gain of about 3-4 yards, and that's number 20, who is Adesona. First time we've called his name today.
Yeah, dancing and weaving his way through. Nice little gain.
So like you say, it does give these teams an opportunity to get some more experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
3rd and 13. Sorry, 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7.
And of course, for those just joining us, we are in a running clock situation. Culver dropping back here, looking for Axel, and has he caught it in bounds? It looks like he has.
They're giving him that one. Rodwell with a nice completion, and that'll give Hertfordshire a first down. So what can they take out of this game, Hertfordshire? If they drive down the field and score here, it gives their backup players, their second stringers, third stringers, some good confidence moving into next season.
Gives them some experience, and you know, they've got to claw back some pride more than anything here.
Leeds have been dominant today, but it was a close game early on. That's a nice hit that goes in there. So some good running again from Bizarridu this time.
Thunderous hit by Hind coming across from his linebacker spot. We could hear the thud all the way up here.
That's Adesona on the run. My apologies. Adesona on the run, continues to stay in for the Hurricanes. 2nd and 9. This will be the first time that Leeds have won the national championship. Two receivers to the top. Quarterback struggles with the ball a little bit, but now gets to his feet, and Lewis Culver goes down. This is going to go down as a sack. That's a nice play from number...
Looked like Newsom, number 33, was the man that brought him down.
Yeah, I believe it's the first national championship for Leeds Carnegie, certainly in this division in the Premiership. So they'll be celebrating that. There's interesting parallels, isn't there, between the Coventry Jets that won earlier today and Leeds Beckett Carnegie as well. Both of those coming up through the ranks. Both of those being dominant today with this flex-bone offence.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really, really dominant.
Culver with a nicely thrown ball, but it's that scholar back there, Brian Smith, who's now looking to take one back for himself, cuts back, walks in, and there is a flag down, 2 flags down actually.
I think it's going to be in the vicinity of pass interference there. They were all over that receiver, but we'll see what they call.
So Brian Smith with an impressive run back nonetheless.
Pass interference. 23, defence, 15 yards previous spot, automatic first down.
It's Broad that gets pinged for the penalty.
So these backup players that Hertfordshire have brought onto the field to gain their experience, they continue to keep this drive alive, albeit through a penalty, pass interference penalty. It was a nicely lofted ball by Culver. This will be a first down. Just need to change. They're going to change the chains, and Culver hands this one off.
No.
It was a beautiful run up the middle that time. Nice chunk picked up. 7, maybe 8 yards there.
So Adesona continuing to impress in this drive. Culver and Adesona both doing well so far. Again, Adesona up the middle and close to a first down. That might actually give him the first down.
Yeah, they have given it. These chains keep moving forward as we come to the halfway mark of this 4th quarter.
Again, we have more than a 35-point difference, so that clock will continue to run. Only a timeout can stop the clock. Other than that, it will continue to run. Hertfordshire now very close to Leeds territory. Culver back to throw, and this one will be picked, and that is Don Thompson all the way down the left-hand side. Will he take it in? He will. Cuts back, and Don Thompson gets himself a touchdown off another pick 6.
That's the 3rd one of the game for this defense.
So Lewis Culver unfortunately falls foul of the defensive backs in the same way that Varney had in the first half. In the 3rd quarter. So Culver falls foul of them in the 4th quarter. And these Leeds Carnegie boys, they've really got it going on now.
Yeah, Broad, Campbell, and now Thompson. 3 pick 6s in one game.
Culver just didn't see him, did he? He's got his eyes set on that receiver. He was trying to go to James Schofield, but Thompson, with good speed down that sideline, one man to beat, cuts back inside. Quarterback can't make the play, and in he goes.
That defense has accounted for 18 points. Of course, the special teams has accounted for 6 as well.
So if you're a Hertfordshire supporter, you can close your ears now. The score is Leeds Beckett 57, Hertfordshire Hurricanes 13.
That is an ugly scoreline to read.
So the story of this game so far is that it was close in the 1st quarter. 2nd quarter, Leeds pulled away a little bit, but the 3rd and 4th quarter in this game has just been Leeds Carnegie all the way in all aspects of the game, whether that's defensive scores special teams scores from a block punt, or whether that's from just good offensive play. And if Matt's still making notes on the score, he's going to have a lot to go through.
He absolutely is. That's
the
for
post-game
certain,
show while he rattles through the scorelines, because these Leeds boys have put up a hell of a score here in this national final. Nevertheless, still playing, running clock, as you guys know. This is a decent kick, well taken by Rodwell at his own 1 yard line. He will bring it out. Rodwell still fighting. Now he changes direction back to his left-hand side, trying to find the edge, just doesn't have the legs for it as Leeds run him out of bounds. But good effort from Rodwell, who's played well during this game. Still fighting, still trying to get some pride back in this programme, and it is a very strong programme, and it has been for years. Their season for Hertfordshire, they started out with a losing record going into the playoffs, and then they had these scalps, the Swansea scalp, the UON scalp, but it's going to end here today. They just didn't have enough.
Well, it was always going to end
down
here today. It's the end of the season, Carl.
I mean, the winning streak for these guys.
Yeah, they are not going to be taking home the scalp of the Carnegie.
And you have to hand it to Dale and the coaching lads here at Leeds. They do have a hell of a programme. As Hertfordshire start this drive with a run to the right-hand side.
No pickup there to speak of, and there are some afters as Hind. Looks like Hind may have been the man, the culprit, but possibly not. I can't quite get a clean number, so I'll retract that.
That's Anim Ashwan on the run. Haven't called his name yet. Another one of those running backs, rotating those guys in to get that experience.
See if the officials pick up on a number.
Let's wait to hear from Brian Yates. The Bafra crew in both games today done a good job.
He hasn't got a white hat on today. It looks like it may have been 36 that was the culprit.
Frustration, I think, from Bull and Cole if it is. There's Brian Yates, he's got a white hat on there.
I couldn't find him. He was lost within the Carnegie.
It's like, where's Waldo, isn't it?
I think he's been changing his hats.
So we're waiting to hear from Brian Yates on this call.
Personal foul. Headbutt. Number 36, Hertfordshire. The players have been disqualified for the foul. Down counts, second down.
Oh, well, there you go.
So things go from bad to worse for Hertfordshire. Bull and Cole now ejected from the game for a headbutt. No doubt that was just frustration at the fact that Hertfordshire have not put on the performance that they would have liked to in this game.
I have to say I didn't see the headbutt. All I saw was the retaliation on the Beckett side of things, but clearly something's happened there.
So it's going to be
also
second.
a 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in regulation.
That running clock really does get things moving, doesn't it? We're now down to 2 minutes left, and I'm sure Hertfordshire will just want to get out of this game and just enjoy the experience of being at the national final.
Out of sight, out of mind, I think.
But they'll want to forget this performance, certainly in the second half.
Or maybe they'll use it as some fuel for next year.
There has been some highlights for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Rodwell's played well.
You've had two touchdowns going as well. You know, Yervier and Alger.
Yeah, they've definitely shown some signs of what they can do, but they just come up against a better team today in all three phases of the ball, well, despite the Leeds Carnegie being a smaller squad.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive backs for Leeds Carnegie have been all over the field and taken away that passing game that the Hurricanes really thrive on.
Yeah, absolutely right, George. They've definitely won that battle. We're just waiting for play to restart here after the 2-minute break, and that running clock will restart. And hand off this time up the middle, and this will pick up some decent yards, picking up about 12 to 15 yards. Here's Adesona.
Yeah, late handoff there, but draws that defensive line forward and opens up the gap in behind.
Clock continues to run. Just a minute and a half now left before Leeds will be crowned national champions here at Loughborough. Hurricanes with the ball. 3rd and 6. Culver, their backup quarterback, still in the game. This time it's a fumble, it's on the ground, and that'll be picked up. It looks like Leeds will get the chance to run out the clock with the ball. It's Connor Remington that dives on that one.
We said this earlier, and obviously with the clock running, we said this in the first game of the day. Do you take a knee here, or do you go for some more scores? I think with a scoreline like this, I think you're looking to take a knee and kneel the game out.
Absolutely. Actually, it was Chris Jones, number 66. It wasn't Connor Remington. It was Chris Jones that recovered that fumble. One of the biggest men on the field. Dives on the football.
I don't think anyone was getting that out from underneath it.
You go first, George. And he's still staying on the field because he's now going to play centre.
But he has got his reward for the hard work that he's put in today.
So Chris Winrow will keep the ball on this one. Oh, it's come out again. So the ball on the ground with the dying seconds now ticking off the clock. Remember, the clock continues to run, so we're down to 5 seconds now. Looks like Leeds want to get a playoff, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. And here we go, and that is the end of the game.
No, I think they've called a timeout, so it looks like Leeds may be going for a play here.
Okay.
With such correction. Timeout. Leeds Beckett, 1 second left.
With
well, I'm glad it wasn't just me, Brian, that thought the game was over. So did Brian.
So with a rather large margin, it looks like they're not going to be kneeling it out at all or letting the clock run out. It looks like they're going to try and put some more points on the board.
We've seen it both, haven't we, from Coventry and from Leeds this afternoon, and I'm sure that opinion will be divided about whether Leeds should just let this one go with the score at 57-13. The ball was on the ground, so one more play then in this national final, and they decide to take a knee. So the timeout,
that seems like
down.
A rather pointless timeout there, but there you go.
Nevertheless, maybe there goes the Gatorade shower.
Maybe they weren't quite ready to scream and shout on the sideline. Who knows?
Maybe it was a timeout to get the Gatorade bucket ready. You just don't know, do you? Nevertheless, Leeds Beckett Carnegie have been absolutely dominant in this second half. We thought it was going to be close, but the Hurricanes didn't get a sniff, and they fully deserve to be national champions. They've beaten some of the best teams in the country, and they've worked their way through the playoffs, dominating against the Bullets, then defeating the Lions, and finally they've come here today and they've taken apart these Hertfordshire Hurricanes.
Yeah, and for one more year, the Northern Premiership Conference takes home the title under the Leeds Beckett Carnegie banner.
Absolutely, George. And it's good scenes. It was a good first half. It was disappointing if you're a neutral and you've been staying with us. We thank you for staying with us, for supporting British American football and this BUCS final that's been brought to you today. We've thoroughly enjoyed the game. We would have liked it to have been a closer game, but you know, you only get the game that you get, and Leeds have shown in all three phases of the game they were just a better team today.
Yeah, they absolutely turned up, did what they needed to do on all three phases of the game. Offense, defense and special teams all getting scores on the board, and thoroughly deserved national champions.
Dale Bottomley has done a great job with this Leeds Beckett team. They're part of the Yorkshire Academy of American Football, and they have a range of programs including junior teams, Rams Seniors, Uni of Light, Leeds Griffins, and so that academy's really had a great season, and Leeds Beckett Carnegie obviously top with winning the national final, the Premier final, this year. So, with Leeds Beckett winning this one 57-13, we're going to go down to Matt Walker and the post-game team in just a minute. You can see on the field now they're getting the national trophy. They're going to get the national trophy ready, and as they do that, we'll come back to you for the national trophy presentation. But before that, we'll go to some ads, and then we'll be back with Matt and Joe and James on the sideline. Join us in a few moments.
And that is that. Hertfordshire Hurricanes crowned national champions for this season. It's
You mean Leeds?
2018-19. Oh my goodness me.
Leeds.
What a slip of the tongue that was. Let's try that again. Leeds Beckett Carnegie. Sorry about that. I'm genuinely sorry. Wouldn't know where I was. Gents, I've missed that 35-0 second half that the Beckett Carnegie put together somehow.
They both wear purple and black, it's fine. Nobody noticed, Matt, don't worry.
So we'll have a quick run through the highlights there for Leeds' championship winning season. As I said, it was a 35-0 second half. At the half, we thought that they will be a bit closer than that, but then that Leeds dominance, particularly with that run game, and then we mentioned about we heard about the mistakes in commentary that Hertfordshire and the bad luck. But we'll have a run through the first possession of the third quarter. Leeds came out and they had a big TD called back for holding, but then, as things are, everything was just clicking for them, and James Potts, number 35, ran in from 12 yards out to put them 30-13 points ahead, and really the writing was on the wall from that point with a 27-point lead.
Yeah, power running attack like that, you're going to really struggle with stopping it if you start getting tired on defence, which I think Hearts did. Potts with a great run, really, with and showing the depth of that Leeds backfield.
And to that point, it was the offence that was dominant, but then special teams came in, and the next possession we saw, Hertfordshire struggled again, and a blocked punt. Spencer Hine, number 34, blocked it and ran it in himself, James.
Yeah, great play, special teams, big play. How he scooped it as well, I don't know. It was a fantastic block, but to scoop it up as well, and yeah, it made it look really easy, to be fair. And that was probably the that was probably the game there. That was.
So 38-13 at that point, but Hertfordshire did end up driving back down the field, and Alex Rodwell, we thought, and obviously as the screen showed, it was a touchdown, but unfortunately the referees didn't see it that way, and that's not that it's a turning point, Joe, but it's obviously another point of deflation for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, absolutely, and whatever confidence you had left in your ability to win a game is going to just
disappear at that point. It's really, really challenging, I think, for any team to come back from that. And it gets in your head a little bit. You think that the game is against you. You think that the officials might be against you, even though they're not. And yeah, really, really difficult for them at that point.
And from there, the wind completely went out of the Hurricanes' sail, and we had Winrow on a 40-yard rush, and that time he wasn't from quarterback, as you said. He was playing a slightly different position at that point, Joe.
Yeah, playing A-back in the wishbone, and got himself a handoff and power run off the right-hand side of the formation, and absolutely breaking into space, and nobody's going to stop him from there.
And then we mentioned about all three phases of the game scoring. We saw one pick six in the first half, and the final two scores came in via way of Tyler Broad and Don Thompson, who took two passes back for touchdowns themselves.
Yeah, I think, good job breaking on the ball, but it was what they did when they got the ball in their hands, especially the first one. I think it made about three guys miss, and really nice moves to get into the end zone, and I suppose even the linebacker as well on the second one, juke the QB at the end to get in, and dominant their defense in the second half. Just really, really good performance.
Absolutely. Behind us, we can see the Hurricanes just being awarded their runners-up medals. So what we'll do right now is we'll pass back up top to Carl and George, who will be able to talk us through the trophy presentation for the Leeds Beckett Carnegie in this championship-winning season. Carl?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Good stuff from you guys down on the field. Yeah, on the screen now you can just see Hertfordshire Hurricanes really just getting clapped. And I like this part of the game, George. When you salute your opponents at the end of a game. Hertfordshire haven't come out and performed the way they would like to, but nevertheless, they are in the final, and they're the second best team in the country currently. And so, it's good that they get this opportunity to receive those consolation medals and to celebrate their season.
Absolutely, respect for your fellow players. Everybody out there is trying to do the same thing. You're all out there putting your body on the line for your respected teams. And yeah, I think you're right. Whether you win or lose, it's nice to be clapped off, shake hands with your opponents, and just show each other a little bit of respect and gratitude.
And it's so difficult to get to this game. You're a coach with Lincoln. I've been coaching NTU for 10 years, and it is so difficult to get to a final game, whether that's a Division 1 final as we saw from Coventry earlier, or whether it's a Premiership final like this. There's no luck in it. You have to go through, 8 tough games and then a series of tough games in the playoffs to get here. And despite the way Hertfordshire's performed today, they've done such a fantastic job, and the programme always does year on year under Simon Hatcher's head coachship. Yeah,
you got to grind. You got to put in the hard work, and you can't just stop after the off season with the stuff you do in the gym. You got to be in there. You got to be in your classroom sessions. You got to do everything possible to make yourself a better player, and as part of becoming a better player helps to become a better team and really unify, work as one, and move forward as one.
Simon Hatcher, you can see him there. He'll be so disappointed, the man on the end of the line there, just coming up to receive his medal. And there is Simon now receiving his medal, and I know he will be disappointed that his team couldn't put something together to give us a closer game. But there he is receiving the plate and getting some consolations there from these guys presenting the trophies. And he will no doubt be back next year stronger. I can already see on some of the comments from the Hertfordshire Hurricanes fans, they're going to be back. We know they'll be back next year to play again. So we turn our attention to Leeds Beckett Carnegie, and they are national champions for the first time ever, and Sheldon Campbell coming on to pick up his medal, and smiles all round as this team that fully deserves it. This is Carnegie's 10th season. They've never had a losing season, George.
That's an impressive stat. It really is. And for them to be here, their second year in the Premiership, and taking the national championship home with them, phenomenal.
They're the first team, Leeds Carnegie, to get promoted and to win a game in the Prem North. And like you say, they didn't go straight back down. They avoided relegation, and here they are. A total of 15 different players carried the ball for Leeds Carnegie this season. This is really a team effort. They do have those scholars, don't they? But it's definitely a team, and we saw that from the different people that carried the ball today. But in terms of MVPs, who would your pick go to today? And you may have mentioned this already.
Well, it's tough. But I think for me, it's a toss-up between Chris Winrow or Tyler Broad. By right, and I would think he probably gets it, it will be Winrow. But from a defensive aspect, and being a defensive coach, I'd give it to Tyler Broad.
Here's Tyler Broad now coming into your shot, just receiving his medal.
Like I say, I suspect Winrow will get it, but we'll see.
Lots of smiles from that Leeds team. Head coach Dale Bottomley, offensive line coach Andy Fraser, wide receiver coach Matt Wade, linebackers Will Johnson. They've all played for the team, and now they're coaching for the team. And it really is a strong program, as we say, part of that overall collection of teams up there in Yorkshire Academy of American Football. As they take the knee with the trophy there. And this is a really special moment for any team, but for the first time for Leeds to win this, they must be so proud and really wanting to come back next year and do it all again, as I'm sure Hertfordshire will. But this is Leeds' moment, and some really nice scenes. And so we're just hearing that it is, you were right, George, well done. Tyler Broad, number 23, gets the MVP, and look at those celebrations.
Nice to have a defensive MVP.
And congratulations to him, it's fantastic today. And a really good game on all three phases of the ball, but the defence were absolutely dominant, and as we said, shut down that passing game that Hertfordshire so much rely on. Here's the raising of the trophy, here we go. And there it is, Spencer Hind raising that trophy aloft, and the celebrations will go on throughout the summer. So congratulations to Leeds Beckett Carnegie, who were absolutely unbelievable today. Very, very strong team, and deserve fully this trophy and this celebration.
Yeah, and they look elated, they really, really do.
10 players have gone over 100 yards running on offense this year for Leeds. Just one of the many impressive statistics that this team has run up. And this was a 50-burger win today. They're the only team in the Prem with a 50-burger actually in the last 2 seasons. Premiership games tend to be quite tight, and they can add another 50-burger to their scoreline today. Just watching some of the different units on the field, you can see Cam there, number 18, who came back from injury, Cam Fry, led his team, albeit with the help of his partner in crime, Chris Winrow, tag team quarterback duo that we saw perform so admirably today.
Yeah, that 1-2 punch really worked for them. Different dynamics at the quarterback, and did them a real good job today.
If you're wondering where these players play in the off-season, when they're not playing for Leeds, 80% of the players will either be at the Yorkshire Rams or the Sheffield Giants. So if you want to see them play, you can, and that's where they will be. So celebrations going on, and we will hand you back to the sideline. So from me, Carl Walkinshaw, and George Lees, thanks very much for joining us here in the commentary booth. Let's hand you back to Matt Walker and the team down on the sideline. Over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Carl. Great work up there, gentlemen, as ever, and it's been a fantastic culmination to a great day's football. Some great scenes there behind us, Joe. Deserved, do you think, Leeds throughout the season as well as today?
Yeah, absolutely, and they've shown their class on and off the field. They've done everything that they needed to do. We were talking earlier about how the Leeds Beckett Carnegie coaching staff rode the Tour de Prem pre-season for charity, and then they've gone and driven themselves all the way up to the national championship. So well done for them, and I think the better team did win on the day.
How will this affect Hertfordshire? I mean, on one respect, they've not had the best of regular seasons, but then moving forward, they've peaked at the right time. Will they be able to bounce back from this next year?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking to them in the pre-game, they were just really grateful to be here and very humble about the fact that they'd made it here, and they didn't expect to get here. They didn't expect to get through the playoffs the way that they did do, and they have made the most of their experience whilst being here. So I think for them, it's been a great experience. I think will come back bigger and stronger than they have done this year.
Brilliant. And you can probably just see behind us we have, come on in, then, gents. We've got Tyler. Congratulations, Tyler.
Thank you very much.
And Coach Bottomley, congratulations, sir. Just sum up initially what this means to you, to the outfit of Leeds Carnegie in this year.
Oh, it's just phenomenal. We've been here around it's our 10th season, so it's great to see alumni come down and see us play so well. A big shout out to our previous head coach Paul Wake, who was involved for 7 seasons and really laid those foundations for us. And then we had a new coaching staff come in, and we just built and built and built. Last year was ended in a quite disappointing way for us, so we knew what our goal was coming to this year, and the guys have just worked at it game by game by game.
And for you, Tyler, obviously a score on offence to open things up, and then a score on defence at the end. Sum up for you personally what this means.
Everything. I've been here for 4 years with Dale for 3. We work so hard for this. The whole team does, and everyone works hard, does their job, and we know what we can do. So we just go out there and we did it today. So.
Fantastic. 35-0 second half. Going into the half, were you confident that you might stretch away, or was it a case of, well, wow, this is closer than we might have expected?
It was always going to be difficult on offence with Coach Hatcher as the DC. I mean, it made it difficult for us there, and he was changing all his alignments and all sorts of coverages this first half. So, we just thought, let's stick with our ground game, and when the pass is available, we'll attack with that. But shout out to the defence, so again, it was 3 scores, and the punt block was phenomenal too. So that's always nice as an OC when you see that happen. So.
To be able to score in all 3 phases of the game, you know that everyone's on sync and on a level. For you personally then, Tyler, what's next football-wise?
Don't know, hopefully try to break into the GB squad fully, make a competitive game. I've been around the practice squad last year, so hopefully I can get in and make the final squad now.
And for Leeds, moving into next season, I know you've only just won this one and it's not necessarily time to think about next season, but plans for next season, do you think you'll be able to retain that title?
Why not? We're always going to be working hard, but it's just about focusing on our recruitment and developing the team, and not going to defend the title, but going out there and really attacking it next year.
What pleased you most today? Close run thing up into the half, a couple of mistakes from Hertfordshire, but what pleased you most about not only the second half, but the overall performance?
Just the full team effort from all the coaches, all the players, all our support staff. Everyone chipped in and did what they could to help the team. And when the mistakes were made, no one got on each other's backs. They just cracked on with the job and helped support each other. So it was awesome.
Well, I think we've gone Joe. Sorry.
Pre-game about triple option being something that some people don't see a lot of in the UK game. Do you think more people are going to take that on after seeing what you did today?
It's up to them. We showed it works. Why can't it be run at the highest level of the sport? Why aren't Great Britain programmes using this? Because it gives you a chance against bigger, stronger opposition, So, we love it, and we've got lots of things we can do with it, and we'll see how it goes next season with it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks very much. We've kept you from your team long enough, so congratulations once again. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Tyler, and enjoy the evening. All right, take care. Cheers.
Congrats, guys.
So obviously some very jubilant players, coaches and officials, and deservedly so.
Absolutely. Win a national championship. Go ahead and enjoy it. Absolutely. It's difficult. You're not going to come and do this every single year. You're going to make the most of it. Absolutely.
So I suppose, James, obviously defensive coordinator yourself, if and when you were up against Leeds, what is the way to stop that offence? When he's obviously saying as effective as it is and why isn't it at the top level? Obviously you know what's coming. Why can't teams stop it?
It's tough because you have to play assignment football. You have every player on defense has to know their job and do it effectively. They run so many different kind of variations of that scheme that it really tests your responsibilities and your run fits. And then it's just as with everything in defense, it's block shed and tackling. And you've seen the ball carriers that they have and the guys up front, the size they have up front.
Sure.
It's hard to shed blocks and it's hard to make tackles on those guys. Tyler showed it, on his first touchdown. He broke away from the cornerback and ran all the way to the end zone. You've got to be one-on-one better on every single snap, and that's hard. On offense, you can hide players. On defense, everyone's got to be able to block shed, everyone's got to be able to tackle, and one mistake, and that's a touchdown.
And pick your poison.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can choose who you want to try and stop. You're going to stop a quarterback, you're going to stop a B-back, you're going to stop an A-back. And if you can see somebody's got a weakness somewhere to stop, then you can achieve that. Leeds haven't got any weaknesses.
No.
And when they've got a quarterback who can run that well, you can stop the dive all you want. But if they can then
be, running QB lead like they are doing, then you're going to really struggle.
So playing devil's advocate, why aren't more teams running this offence?
I think knowledge of and understanding of how to run the offence, and also it's really difficult as a sell piece to sell your team on.
Yeah.
We're not going to run anything that you see in the NFL. We're not going to run much of what you see in the NCAA, and we're going to run a system and an offence that is really, really difficult for us to put in, to understand as a coaching staff, and to commit to. We run it at Loughborough, they run it there. I think there's 2 or 3 other teams that run some variation of, triple option offence in the UK, and it's really limited because just the number of coaches who can actually do it is quite low.
Okay. Yeah, they do a great job every year. They get guys over from Navy and programs in the States to come and teach them, and I think they've gone out there as well, and it makes a massive difference when you've got that knowledge of the offence, and that's what I said, probably why, and like I said, the buy-in, it's hard to get players to buy into that kind of scheme, until you see it.
It's a great effort. Like Dale says, why aren't the GB programme running it? It's a really good question to be asked, and if we've got that sort of athlete who comes from a rugby background, who's used to handling the football, who's used to moving the football around to different players, maybe it's something that fits us a little bit better at the national programme level. Okay.
Well, we've spoken a lot about other teams today. Just before we sign off, what are your plans then moving forward, both for yourself personally and for the Lions moving into next season? Yeah, I'm focusing on the Lions. I'm going to have a summer off this year, and work on the recruitment side of it and preparing for next year. I think we're in a good position. We're a really young squad. We're only graduating, I think, three of our starters on defence. So we started 5 first-year players last year on defence. So I'm really looking forward to next year. I'm really optimistic. We'll see. We know all the good teams are going to recruit, and especially those teams that are able to kind of reach across the pond and get the American guys in as well. But we're confident in ourselves and our programme. So yeah, we'll see. The Lions perennially are one of the strengths of British football, obviously particularly at university level. You do feel you're in a position to be able to bounce back from what probably has been a disappointing year for you guys? Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a bit of a season of 2 halves, really. Before Christmas, we opened the season against Huey, and we were really confident, and we won that game, and it was difficult. But then we had a little bit of a slide. We lost at home to Swansea at Explosion. We lost to Hearts away, which is a big one. It was 35-0. We obviously went through some coaching changes, but the second half of the year, we won 3 on the bounce into the playoffs, and unfortunately, we came up against a good Leeds team that showed what they're worth today. And I felt we played well. We held them to 19 points, and unfortunately, we couldn't get anything going on the day on offence. But that's just the way it is. We saw how good their defence worked today. They make it hard for teams. Absolutely. And Joe, for you at Loughborough? Yeah, I think I'll be moving into a different role. I'll be moving away from being the quarterbacks coach, I expect. We've had a year coming down from the Premiership and being in Division 1 again. To win the division was nice. To then see a Coventry team, a very talented Coventry team today, moving up to the Premiership is good for them. And we want to build our programme into being a strength again. We want to, continue the fact that Loughborough is the best sports university in the world, and show that we can do something with our sport here as well. There might be a move to a different position. There might be a move to a different side of the ball. I'll be doing great work here at the university team, and hopefully, in my other role, bringing something with the All-Star programme in September that we want to release all the full details of that in the next few weeks to make sure that we are getting that out to the people who want to be representing it at the highest level that they can do currently at university level. Absolutely. Generally speaking, I asked Neil Reynolds when I caught up with him last weekend as well, your view of the state of British football, not just from a university point of view, but just generically. We know the NFL are here to sell their own brand, and they're not necessarily interested in growing the sport in our country. But where do you feel at the moment British American football lies? Is it as strong as it's ever been across all different forms, obviously from the BAFA leagues to the universities to the women's game to the junior setup, or are we still wanting somewhat? I think the women's game in the university is probably the strongest it's ever been, especially the Premier divisions. The recruitment now, the standard we saw today, it's almost rivaling that of the Prem in the adult league, and there's probably a little bit more size as you'd expect with them being fully grown men, but I think the standard today that Leeds team could beat a lot of Premiership teams. And women's football's going from strength to strength. We've got the European Championships in Leeds this year, so I'm sure the women's team will be looking for success there. So I think we are in a good place. So we've spoken recently to the BAFA chair, haven't we? And she seems really keen to kind of take the game to the next level, which I'm excited about. Yeah, Nicole McCulloch did say that there's plenty of things that we want to fix, and it's baby steps for BAFA at the moment, and they want to make sure that the new governance is coming into place and being taking the sport in the right direction, that they're trying to
fix some of the problems that have been around in football for a long, long time. University League is doing really well, and since it moved into being BUCS, it's gone from strength to strength.
Sure.
We've seen an influx of talent from the States and from Europe with some programs, and that's starting to sort of level off, I think, a little bit now, which is quite nice. When it comes to BAFA, I think obviously the under-19s didn't make it yesterday to play in the European Championships, and that's something that needs to be addressed. We've got a great base of everything that we can do something with. We need to make sure that the foundations that we're building on as a national governing body are strong enough to take the growth that we want to have happen. It's great that we want to stream games, it's great that we want to have semi-professional players, it's great that we want to have all these things, but we can only do it if the foundations are strong enough and we're not building upon sand.
Absolutely. Good advert for the games today, the two games we've seen. Maybe I don't know, Division 1 this morning, maybe didn't catch fire quite as much as we would have hoped, but this one this afternoon definitely entertained and paid, if you like, the bills for the advert for the game.
And the North is looking strong again. It was a great day for running football, if you like that. It was a great day for defence, and really, really fantastic view.
Good stuff. Well, obviously a show like this can't be put on without numerous people behind the scenes, and obviously our producers and our cameramen have been working hard. Obviously George and Carl up on the commentary position as well, and I think it's been a really good day and a good end to the BUCS season. Now obviously in the not too distant future the BAFA season gets underway, and if you're interested and it has sparked any interest in you and American football, then go on the BAFA website and have a look for what clubs are near your location. And we know from any American football outfit there are volunteers needed at every level. It's not just about playing, it's the coaching, it's the backroom staff, it's the organisation, management. The amount of people that are needed to run a successful organisation can't be underestimated. So if you have sparked any interest today, then fantastic, get involved if you can. I think we're going to leave the airways soon. We're just waiting for things to quieten down. For some of these guys now, obviously this is the pinnacle of some of these guys' careers. Some won't play at any higher level. I suppose, where do you go from here? It's almost like being a rock star. You've had this feeling, you're at the top of the mountain, you've got all that adrenaline flowing, and all of a sudden then you come down.
Well, coaching science says that you've got to be able to take the rough with the smooth and understand that. I think the difficulty for some of these guys is that like you say, it's the highest level they're going to play at, and they've got to avoid the feeling of, well, who am I?
Yeah, sure.
Without being a University American football player. We go through that as University American football players. When it's gone and it's over, you've got to make that transition into regular everyday life, going and getting a career, going and getting a job. Not being a superstar American football player in the UK anymore, and making sure that you are, building a new life and image, I guess, of who you are as a player. What's really nice is that we stream these games now and they never go away. You can go back and you can relive it. You can show your kids on YouTube that once Dad was a football player and I did play at a decent level, and I did win that little medal that we've got stashed in the kitchen drawer somewhere. But it's for me, I would say that for a lot of them, it's about making sure that you go away with the positive memories of the sport and positive experience and a really, really enjoyable experience of your time, your teammates, the coaches, and the sport as a whole. I think if you're not going to go and play at the next level, and for many of them, they should be going on and playing at adult level. They should be looking at Europe and seeing if those opportunities are available to them, because they are available to a lot of British players, and making sure that they're taking all of their opportunities to get as much out of football as they can, because at the end of the day, you've got to make it work as much as you're working for it.
Absolutely. And I suppose we all love the game, and we have done, that's why we're involved with it, but why is it the best game in the world? Why, for those youngsters out there sort of watching and maybe experiencing this for the first time? I remember back as an 11-year-old watching 49ers for the first time when they won the Super Bowl back in 1988, thinking, there you are, Montana Rice, and they're just the glitz and the razzmatazz, but it's obviously different being involved on this side of the pond. But how would you sell this game to people who haven't really necessarily get involved with it, and why is it such a great team sport to be involved with?
Well, it's the perfect team sport. It's it's positioned for everybody. You saw today. You need 30 guys on a team. You can rely on 30 guys on a team to be successful. Say the position for everybody. You saw some of the size of the offensive linemen for the Leeds guys, but then some of the defensive backs of both teams. Kind of 12 stone kind of thing, and using all their speed and and quickness. So it's fantastic team sport. Strategically, obviously, we know kind of the depth that players and coaches especially go to.
Absolutely.
Both of these coaches today prepared their teams fantastically. Hearts are running stuff we've not seen in the regular season, with only 2 weeks to put stuff in. And Leeds, we know how kind of strong Dale's knowledge is of the triple option, and they're not just running triple option, they're running wishbone and split back veer, and also some passing concepts out of it that they scored from. So it is the best game in the world, and that's why.
I think you said it really nicely earlier, that there's something for everybody involved in the sport, and there's something for you to do, whoever you are, whether or not that's as a player, as a coach, as a sideline assistant, as somebody who, we need more people like accountants who are wanting to get involved in the sport from a organisational perspective, to be able to run teams financially better than we're currently running them, so that we can bring more money into the sport, so we can start to pay some of these coaches for the full-time work that they do. Dale Bottomley is one of only 3 or 4 full-time American football coaches in the UK, and we need more of that. There's a reason why he's there. Is because he commits so much time to it, and he is able to because it is his career.
Okay. Do you think British teams, if they're looking at inspiration for their games and playbooks, etc., do they delve more into the NCAA college schemes rather than the pro schemes, or is it very much a case of we're formulating our own strategies?
Visit a team and run something that you can get all of the information that you need to be able to do it. It's no good. We both know, as people who have been coordinators, current coordinator, previous coordinator, running something that you don't really understand is a really bad idea. And being able to have all of the answers to the problems that you're going to face out on the field and out on the practice field week in, week out, is the real answer to be able to run an effective offence or defence. Run a scheme that you can effectively put in with the athletes that you've got. Run a scheme that meets the needs of the game that you're going to play. If you're going to play in winter and it's going to be windy and rainy, then playing 5 wide is probably a bad idea. But from a defensive perspective, being gap sound is something that a lot of teams miss out on being at the moment, and just running a system that plays to the strengths of your athletes, plays to the strengths of your coaches more than anything.
Yeah, and you don't need to overcomplicate things. Keep it simple. Use your athletes and work on the fundamental skills. Work on the block destruction. Work on the tackling. You don't have to be, the next Bill Belichick. Run a sound, simplistic scheme that your players can understand, and do it effectively. The triple option offense, as hard as it is to defend, it's very, very, easy to install, especially for the offensive line. There's 2 or 3 blocks. They down block or they pull, or occasionally they might reach when they run that rocket toss. But it's simple and it's effective because they get lots and lots of reps and they execute at a very high level.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for your time this afternoon, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure to spend a day with you and see such a good advert for not only the university game but British American football. We've witnessed today 2 titles distributed. The Division 1 title, national trophy title, was given out to
Coventry Jets.
Very good. Coventry Jets, who put away the UEA Pirates earlier on today. And we've just witnessed the National Premiership final, the National Champions 2018. And the winners of that were
Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie.
There you go. Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie running out as big winners against the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. Thanks ever so much for joining us. I'm Matt Walker, and we will see you again very soon with another production of British American Football. Take care.
Thank you.
How long did
that was we filled a bit there, didn't we?